Greetings, everybody, and welcome to the 1/6 Scale Man. Proudly introduces what's up or say what. Tonight is going to be a clear, full-out comic discussion with a few friends. But before we jump into that, like I said, I just want to welcome everybody and get the show started. Let's go. That's enough. That's enough. Let's bring everybody in. I got a host of characters in here. I got all my friends. You know, everybody who basically are fellow collectors, fellow comic book collectors, such as myself, and they've been on this ride with me. Like I said, they are close friends of mine. So I'm going to introduce a few of them by name and a few characters we have in here with us right now and tonight. First off, new to the game, my boy, all day, every day, Jedi Kid. What's going on with you, man? I think you're muted. I can't hear you. You muted?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now,
you
man. How you doing, bro?
All right. I'm here. What's going on, baby?
How you doing, man?
I'm
You
good.
doing good? Turn
Sir.
that mic
Yes,
down.
sir.
We getting a little bit of blast on you, man. Turn it down a little bit.
I'm up on you. My bad, bro.
Yeah, just a little bit. We got you though. But how you
I'm
doing,
newbie.
man?
I'm wet behind the ears. Man.
We got you. How you doing, man?
I'm good, brother. I'm good.
All right,
Great
man.
weekend.
Good, man. I'm glad to
Yes,
have
sir.
you here.
Yes, sir.
And then we have the matriarch. I call her the matriarch all day, every day. You already know what it is. Don't even flash your face like that. We have Dara in the building. The fairy, what is it? The fairy. You know what? You got so many daggone names. Is it the fairy blurred? The fairy nerd, lurd mother? Like, what's going on, man? You tell us what's the name. It's the blurred mother, right?
Yes. Very blurred.
All right. Okay. It is what it is. We got that. And then, of course, we have the man, my mellow, the man with the secret room. We'll talk about that later. Vinny, what's going on with you, brother? How you doing, man?
What's good with you, brother? I'm doing amazing. Good to be here. Glad to be here. Blessed as always.
Oh, man, good. I'm glad to have you here, especially on tonight's discussion. And then you know who he is. You know he is the co-host of Say What all day, every day. Now he says the guy who is always right, aka the enabler, aka Mr. Boston himself, Brendan Riley. What's going on with you, baby?
Living the dream, man. Living the dream.
All right, man. Look, I'm glad to have everybody here, but I'm gonna do another round table. We're gonna do another round table because, like I said, I mean, I want to kind of. You know, I'm pretty sure everybody in the chat wants to get to know you guys. But actually, before we do that, I'm gonna get to the chat and address a few people that are actually in here right now with us. So we have Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan, how you doing, man? Glad to have you in the building. We have Jay-Z? Was it Mansion? What's up, bro? How you doing, man? We got Will Fox Vacation in here. He calling it slackers, but you know what it is. We have who else we got in here? We have Absolute Irwin. We got Philip Toscano, and we got the lovely Latoya T in the building. If I would have forgot her tonight, she would have had a problem with me.
In the doghouse.
Oh man, last chat I forgot. We kind of forgot her, so she was kind of upset about that. But glad to have her here tonight as always, baby.
What are you saying? We? I didn't forget shit. You forgot.
He's trying to put you in it.
Hell yeah, no. You were in here with me, so you're part of this too. So
He's trying to put you in it.
Don't even do that. Don't even do that.
And no. See, I'm in her good graces. I send you guys a present. I'm in her good graces. Don't mess that up for me. Do not mess that up.
Speaking of which, he did send us a nice and beautiful, lovely gift. Yo, look at that baby boy.
Oh,
look at that.
Oh, variant.
Look at that.
Oh,
Alex,
my goodness.
Alex Ross, signed by Alex Ross, bro. You already know what time that is.
The man.
Wow.
The man who looked the legend. So,
That is
you know,
nice.
But Brendan, he always sends the goodies. He's trying to get in her good graces. He's like, forget you, boy.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to backside up my head when we see you guys on next weekend. I don't.
You already know. But yeah, I'm glad to have everybody here. And you know what? We're gonna go like a little round table, man. Like I said, because I'm pretty sure everybody wants to get to know everyone and know how long, you've been collecting, or you've been in the comics. And pretty much, let's just tell us how you got started in the comic collection. I'm gonna start with you. Ladies first, always. The matriarch, fairy blurred mother. How long you been collecting, and what was one of the first? What intrigued you about collecting comics?
So I started collecting comics myself probably around age 15 or so, and I'm only 33. So not that long, but I'm introduced to comics through the 90s X-Men cartoon. That was my first experience with any comic book characters, and it's something that me and my father shared, our love of comics and comic books and all that stuff. My father's a Trekkie also. My stepdad loves Star Wars, so they had a little beef going on.
Okay.
Okay.
But I started collecting comics myself, like I said, when I was about 15 in high school. The first comic I bought was The Future Past, X-Men.
Good book.
One of my favorite stories. Not my favorite X-Men story, but one of my favorites. And ever since then, I've been, collecting. I collect like the omnibus mostly, and hardcovers, stuff like that. Just because I feel like it's more worth it to wait and collect the whole storyline all at once. But,
Okay.
It's easier to follow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Easier to read too. Keep track of.
Definitely. Jedi Kid, man. When you start collecting and pretty much like what inspires you about comics, bro?
All right. I started collecting when I was about 12. I think my first book was Death in the Family.
Okay.
Batman. When Robin died, you had to like call in if you wanted Robin to die or if you wanted him to live or whatever.
Yeah.
So my first book, I still have it. It's in the closet now in the cases. But
did you call in?
Dude, you know what? My mother was not trying to have me call no 1-800 number because that might be a little expensive to call. So
back in the day, it was.
She wasn't having it, bro. I wanted to so bad, bro. I wanted him to live, and then the next book, he's dead. So it's like, okay, well, I guess nobody liked Jason Todd, but okay.
Yeah.
But I'm a big Star Wars fan. Huge Star Wars fan. I don't want to talk about the new movies, but the first 6. That's all I'm saying. The first 6 was I love the first 6. I love DC and Marvel, but I mean my top 100 Marvel comic book characters have always been Batman, Superman.
Okay.
Like that's my 1-2 punch. And then on the Marvel side for me it's Wolverine and Spider-Man. I like my top 2 on the Marvel.
Gotcha.
But collecting figures, I started probably back in 2007.
Okay.
After my second tour in Iraq, I started collecting figures big time. In the beginning, it was kind of therapeutic. Getting into the figure hobby and doing the collectibles gig, and I've been doing it ever since, man.
Yeah, man.
I got love for this game.
Got you, man. That's what it's all about. Mad love for it.
Yes, sir.
The man with the room, Vinny.
Yes, sir.
I kind of know your history, but at the same time, they don't know the history. So
let's go.
Yeah,
let's go.
Let's go. Let's hear it, bro.
So sometimes in the mornings, my old man would take me to school, but we would leave early and stop at like 7-Eleven or whatever he would get coffee or whatever, or I would get something to have with lunch or whatever. And I used to get comics from Iraq before we went to school. This is back when there wasn't many comic book shops. So
Yeah.
my first comic was Amazing Spider-Man 323 with McFarlane drawing the Spidey run with Cat on the cover, and
Yeah.
fell in love. I just fell in love. I had to get every comic I could get my hands on. I would get uh, subscription comics in the mail. And they would fold them up and shit. You know what I mean? They would like
Yeah, yeah.
mailbox. I would have friends in school who would sell me like their old Avengers comics for like $1, and I would hit up my parents for lunch money and spend them on comics. Instead of getting lunch, I would spend money on comics. I used to like any we would go to the store and I would ask to keep the change. Like I would scrounge every penny I could to get that next fix, the next comic, and it just became like an obsession and an outlet. I fell in love with Batman and Avengers, and then when I got older, I found like smaller conventions around here, and I would get back issues, and I would trade and collect. Back then, when there was like not as many people, it wasn't as trendy as it is now. It's harder to get comics, and there wasn't the internet, there wasn't eBay. You couldn't just find whatever you wanted. It was so you traded with friends. If they didn't have an issue, you had it. Vice versa, you worked it out, and it was. It created a camaraderie with other people too. Like you got to talk shop about comics and all that good stuff, and it was I loved the collecting aspect of it. I mean, in the '90s, the collecting aspect of it got a big knock because of it was seen as gimmicky. But as a 12-year-old, 13-year-old, that was who it was aimed at. Someone who wanted to like see different things, different creative outlets and processes to get the comics more attention. And it worked. It was the biggest boom of the comic industry for a long period of time. It added a whole bunch of new blood and life into it. All the Image rebirth and McFarlane and what Jim Lee and all them were doing. It was just, I was hooked forever since then. And I never grew out of it, man. I just been collecting ever since. I don't read as much, but even not reading as much as I used to, I still would like pull and then I'll even take like if I'm too busy to read, I'll wait a couple years and then just read a whole run like Netflix and just binge it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, so I've been collecting since I was like 11 years old, thanks to my old man stopping at 7-Eleven before school, man. I love it.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. The enabler himself, the guy who is always right. Mr. Riley, how long have you been collecting, and what inspired you about collecting, bro?
Man, I basically learned to read with comics.
Yeah.
It was early. It was early for me. X-Men, that was my jam. That was my introduction to comic books. I liked a lot of others. I liked Spider-Man. I liked Batman, and and stuff. But for me, it was all about the X-Men. In the the 80s and the early 90s, Chris Claremont just shaping what the X-Men and the X-Men universe was going to be, and then into the early and mid 90s when Jim Lee kind of rebooted from number one. I remember the like 5 different variant covers that they had, and then when you put them up together, they made this huge tableau, this huge like picture with Magneto going against the X-Men. It was just gorgeous. That artwork, the artwork always drew me into a book, and to this day, like I see like great cover art, and I'm just drawn in. So X-Men was a big thing for me. Days of Future Past was one of my favorites. One of the ones that really drew me in the most was the Executioner's song with Strife and Cable. Like that was big. And I got like doubles of every issue, so I'd have one that I could open and I can read, and then another one that I would keep in the bag, and I would so I absolutely loved that. And then in the early to mid 90s, I collected the Marvel Series 3 trading cards that I absolutely loved, and I bought so many packages of those to try and get every card, and then get all of the like hologram cards, the holographic cards that they had at the end of the set. And I got the whole thing together, and then I had it in this like binder with plastic sleeves and everything, and then I got I think like my parents threw it out or something when I was in high school or when I left for college. I can't remember, but and I kind of wanted. They're not like hugely value like in terms of monetary value.
Yeah.
Like I could probably buy the whole set in good condition for like $50-$60 on eBay, and I'm probably gonna do it just because I just want to have them. I geeked out for hours with those cards, just looking at those. I absolutely loved them.
I still have them.
Yeah, dude, they were so much fun. I know my kids now would get a kick out of them, so I absolutely loved those. And then as I got older, I still love the X-Men. I literally just read X-Men comics for about 2-3 hours today, and absolutely love it. So, I go through like fits and spurts where, with 2 kids and a business and stuff, like I'll go through stretches where I don't have time to read anything. And you fall so far behind because it just snowballs. So then I'll go back and, like you said, Netflix binge kind of comics. And so it's like I'm reading like a whole year's worth of X-Men right now. I'm reading, I caught up on Iron Man and Cap and Daredevil. And Daredevil and Iron Man were the 2 that I got into later. And Daredevil is like one of my all-time favorites. I live for those books, and the current run is phenomenal. So yeah, that's what and then all of that just fueled collecting, 6 scales, collecting hot toys and statues and stuff, because I just love that source material so much. The 90s cartoon, the comic books, everything. I just, I can't get enough of it. And so that's what I think of, and that's what fuels every time I look at my collection. It's why I'm so hyped for like more like comic inspired, not just MCU and stuff like that, but actual like comic inspired pieces to come out, because I eat those up.
Absolutely.
Right.
That's cool.
Yeah, man. That's what's up, bro. Like I said, to go into my story about it, I go way back, and this is, like I said, I'm gonna keep it brief because I kind of want to jump into everything, but I go way back to Strange Tales. I guess my first comic was Strange Tales, and it was actually the first introduction of Doctor Strange.
Classic.
And classic. And he basically became, like, right then, that was like my first book. And like Vinny, that's when you would actually go to, like, we were at the time, because my mother at the time, she was a traveling nurse. So we traveled from, we first, like I said,
that sounds like an alternate identity for superhero. Are you sure
Right,
she wasn't like
definitely.
out,
it could
putting
be
it down on some villains out there?
You
Great
never know.
superhero
But
right there, man. That's
she was a traveling nurse. So we basically traveled first from New York City to Jackson, Mississippi. And basically through traveling, like, we would stop off to like little gas stations, 7-Eleven, just like little spots. And I remember back then I actually picked up, Strange Tales. And I'm dated. I was so far back. I picked that comic, and I still have it from, till this day.
Yeah.
This story sounds like the setup for like a TV show where the kid's with his mom stops at the gas station, grabs a comic, and then it just pops off from there.
Right.
But
those spots were gold mines, man. The 7-Elevens, the gas stations for comics.
That's what it was. And that was like the first book. Then from there, I kind of just spiraled down. I started selectively, grabbing different books, reading certain issues. I had the first DC run on Crisis of Infinite Earth. You know what I mean? So I basically had that one. Yeah. And you know what? I had gotten so familiar with Red Tornado. I was so curious about that character. And if you were coming up through, just collecting in general, you might have actually gotten, because Red Tornado being an android, you might have gotten him confused with Vision. You might have gotten him confused with the Human Torch, the original Human Torch.
Not Johnny.
Exactly, not Johnny. So, just coming up and just and then I got submersed into the whole world of the X-Men. And from then, I just couldn't look back. You know what I mean? I just, from the X-Men to the Avengers to Alpha Flight was also a favorite book of mine. So, like I said, ever since then, it's just my whole world was centered around just comics. And that's basically where I was. So, speaking of that, I kind of wanted to segue into like the first discussion. Now, let me ask you a question before we go into that. Who here, because I know I'm not the only one, Brendan, I know you did. Who else here actually saw the Suicide Squad?
I've seen it.
I saw it. Yeah, I saw it.
Nerdy mother, you didn't see it?
Not yet.
So
I can't get away from my kids, and I'm trying to watch it with my husband, and he keeps falling asleep. So
I got you.
Yeah.
I heard it's not for kids.
Definitely not for kids. You see, you gotta like put a rubber band around his wrist or something, and if he starts dozing off, you just snap it and get him back up. Because it is. I said it took the crown from Thor Ragnarok for funniest comic book movie. It was.
That's my. I feel like Thor Ragnarok is up there in my top 3 in the MCU just for the laugh alone. Yeah. Overall, yeah. Overall, I think it's in my top 3.
And you get to see Taika Waititi in this a little. He's got a small role in Suicide Squad.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
So without spoiling it, because we know, the matriarch herself hasn't seen it.
See it.
But I don't mind spoilers. I really don't. They don't ruin an experience for me. So if y'all want to spoil it, go right ahead. It honestly.
You sure?
It's not the kind of movie with some complex plot where you can really spoil a reveal or something. There a lot of people in this movie die. Like you know that. Like James Gunn said that going in, so you don't have to spoil like who dies. Although you can kind of guess certain people are expendable in the franchise.
One was unexpected though.
There are some that kind of hit you in the heart, but mostly it's just a fun, hilarious movie. I mean, it's just one of those things where once again it's proof that Idris Elba is just the man. Like everything that guy does, from Luther to The Wire to Thor to the dude just like I can't wait to see the movie he's got coming up later in November on Netflix. Like he's just amazing.
Yeah. They have to have him in. I want to see him and Will, man. I want to see him and Deadshot in the movie together.
I would love to see it because at first when he was first cast, there was false rumors that he was replacing Will Smith as Deadshot, and then I'm glad they didn't do that.
Yeah, me too.
The way they did it, I don't know if that's ever going to happen. It wasn't that Will Smith didn't want to do it. He actually had a scheduling conflict. He was shooting something else.
Yeah, they said
at the same time. I think it's the movie that's coming out soon where he plays Venus and Serena Williams' dad. Which that looks amazing. That looks good, I think that's what The Losers. Yep, he was good in The Losers too. And plus. You got Captain America in that too. You got Gamora in that. So you got a lot of MCU folk in that. But the Suicide Squad is just man, it was just so much fun.
I liked it, dude. I liked it. It had like it's parts where I was like, but then like the movie carried itself, man. It saved itself like twice for me.
Mm-hmm. Once in a while there's like a little bit of a lull, but then it saves itself before it gets too slow. It's like, oh my god, and then you're right back in.
Right.
It's a very peculiarly shot film. There's definitely a lot of lulls, and then there's some montages that are just through the roof. And it's kind of like the high points of the movie definitely make up for any kind of negatives, but the high points are really high, and there's definitely a lot of like amazing sequences in the film. It almost seems like it was the same kind of vein of Guardians of the Galaxy, obviously. The idea was like we have nothing to lose because no one knows these characters, and we can do anything we want with them, which paid off for the most part. And obviously, the downside of that is, no one really is invested in them, so you're kind of. It's like a win-lose where you're trying to get these characters known, but yet they had a lot to work with and a lot to try to accomplish, and definitely with COVID, where the numbers weren't going to be there no matter what. It's kind of how successful it was or wasn't, considering so many people was able to watch it for free and not to the box office. But there's a lot of great things, like you guys said, Elba. I mean, the only sad part about that is I've always wanted him for Jon Stewart. So that sucks. That won't happen now. But other than that, man, there's.
He would have been a perfect Jon Stewart. Man.
He was always good for Jon Stewart. I loved.
He's perfect for so many damn roles too. That it's like wishful thinking of like everything.
And I love the villain choice, despite the fact that it's yet another Justice League villain. But I can't imagine having seen it on screen. Something I never thought I would see on screen. I couldn't imagine it done any other way than what they did. So
James Gunn is making a career out of taking characters that are the lesser known or not even known at all characters, and
putting them on
proving that
screen.
you can tell great stories without it
Right.
having to be one of the trinity of like Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, or
Right.
Thor, Iron Man,
Right.
and Cap. That
Right.
you can and I mean, before Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, so many people didn't know anything about Guardians, and then that comic book started selling through the roof. So now people are introduced to all these characters, and you got guys like John Cena was phenomenal. He was hilarious in this movie. And now people are all about Peacemaker. I mean, like, let me learn more about this character.
Bro, Polka Dot Man. Polka Dot.
Yeah.
Who heard Polka
He's
Dot
really
Man?
good about that because he could have picked like B-level, C-level characters to put in this, and he's like, no. Bring out the G-level, F
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
Bring out the not even in the alphabet
exactly
list of characters. Yeah.
The whole flag thing killed me, though. I'm not even gonna lie, bro.
Yeah.
But now I want Hot Toys that, like, I need Bloodsport, I need Peacemaker, I need finally
flag.
a Harley that I can rock. 'Cause
Right.
I'm not a fan of big visible joints and stuff. But
Yeah.
her outfit in this, the black and red leather, it covers all of the visible joint locations.
Yeah.
So finally I can get a Margot Robbie 6 scale as Harley Quinn. So I'm super. So if they don't give us, I mean, they're going to. If they only make one other thing besides King Shark that they already revealed, it's gonna be her. But hope
you know what?
They did
You know
reveal
what?
King Shark. I forgot about that.
But you know what? This is crazy because I actually, and I was watching the film, I'm like, yo, I actually want her in that dress. Don't ask me why. I just want her in that dress
with the
bro,
dress.
with
If they
with
did
the
it with
red
seamless
dress?
arms or like maybe like joints that just aren't crazy visible,
Yeah.
then
But
I
they're
can
gonna
rock
show.
that.
They're gonna show in that dress. Her arms were out. So
Yeah.
Right,
I
but
know.
if they go like the route like they did with Rey or Ahsoka with like the seamless arms, then
those arms scare me, dude. Like my Wonder Woman, I'm so scared to like have her in like certain poses because they got the same arms, bro.
yeah, it's a it's a risk, but I'm also there. I have in mind already the poses that I want to use that Clone Wars Ahsoka in. I've got the Justice League and the Wonder Woman like training armor Hot Toys.
Yeah.
I've got those in poses that I like that don't put any strain on the shoulders or the elbows. And Rey from Rise of Skywalker, the poses that I want in that, perfect, no problem with the elbows and stuff and the shoulders. So I'm okay with it. I'd rather it look phenomenal and be a little bit limited with posing than it be posable as all hell, but look like something you pick up at Target, like a Marvel Legends or something.
Right.
Got you.
I liked it though, bro. I don't know. I dug the movie, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I dug it.
I did. You know what? It surprised me. And you know what? When you say about James Gunn, pulling characters that aren't really too familiar within the universe or actually in the cinematic universe, and even in some casual collectors, and putting them out to the forefront and just kind of making them mainstream. He did what I call he pulled like a George Lucas method, where you pull actors and actresses who you know nothing about, and you put them in roles and you make them a household name. So James Gunn is really, really good with that. I'm so happy to see that he's going to continue on with the DCEU. I'm hoping that he brings out so many different things, because they did say that he has multiple ventures with them.
Keep Cavill. That's what he has
Bro,
to do.
I hope.
I'm praying for that.
And the thing is, they told him you can have anything you want.
Keep Cavill,
you can do
bro.
anything you want. So I'm hoping that basically we kinda,
He's supposed to appear in Flash. That's the big thing now. He's supposed to be in Flash. So we'll see, bro. We'll see.
I genuinely hope they keep Henry Cavill, and that I don't know if they will. I'm glad that they can do that, and we can still get the Michael B. Jordan project because that's a different Superman, and it's
he's doing that with HBO, right?
HBO Max. So so it's not like replacing the film Superman.
Right.
It's Michael B. Jordan's own project.
They shouldn't.
And I like the fact that it's on
agree.
HBO Max because it gives it room to breathe, so they can tell a story over like 8, 9, 10 hours, however long they want that to be.
I agree.
Because I think I would be totally down for him as Superman in a movie, as Kal-El, as actual Superman. I have no problem with that whatsoever, and he's a phenomenal actor. But I think this way, you know, more people will be open to it because it's an Earth 2 character, and there's more room for people to really soak in the story and see how great it can be, rather than a bunch of people just being like, oh, I don't like that they recast, I'm not going to go see that movie in the theaters. Because then it tanks it and you don't get a sequel because it doesn't perform well. I think on HBO Max, it can really, really be something special, so I'm looking forward to that.
I agree.
And we get to keep Cavill and hopefully try and keep some semblance of continuity, as little as there can possibly be anyway. You know, with Warner Brothers. You know, who knows what they're going to do with this Flash movie, and if they're going to use that as a vehicle to kind of reset stuff, or if they're just going to be like, we're just going to do whatever, like Fox did with X-Men. It's like, we're not going to even try to make
they didn't even try with X-Men.
No, it was so blatant that it was like, damn, guys. Like, just call every movie one shot. Just call it one shot.
So look at DC, how Warner Brothers, they said that they didn't even know that Krypton blew up.
It's the
like,
same.
They thought he was going to go back home. Like, what?
What'd you say, Benny?
It's the same stuff with Warner Brothers. They don't know what they're doing either.
They don't know what they're doing, bro.
They have a room of people who've never read a comic, never talked to someone.
Yeah.
That's exactly why Marvel needs to keep Kevin Feige happy, because if he doesn't get happy, if he's not happy at any point, DC and Warner Brothers, they will snatch him up because they know that he could then actually save them.
Because Feige reads the source material.
I have to disagree with you.
Hold up. We've got a disagreement. What's up, man?
I'm just saying because Feige reads the source material. That's what I think. He reads. That's why they win.
What'd you say, Vinny?
I don't think that they really want a consultant, because they've hired Jeff Johns. They've hired all these other people who know about comics. And what they do is they listen to them and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, that's nice. And then they talk to a whole bunch of suits whose job is there to basically put their stamp on, their spin on stuff that they know about. So I've talked to many times that I believe that DC needs a DC studio, something that's in-house where they can have a confined
clean house.
Right, but that's, I think, why Kevin Feige would be...
what Kevin Feige is for Marvel Studios. But the point is, DC doesn't really kind of want that. They want the suits to make... They want a whole bunch of chefs. And they're
going to keep losing, bro.
I don't think
that they want someone to come in and tell them how to do it. They want to be the ones making all the decisions. And when someone comes in and says, in the comics it's like this, they're like, hey, thanks for your input, bud. Nice job. Now go back to your corner.
Right.
Well, you got to remember, they also just got sold, though. Like, so they're not. It's not all the same leadership. But then, like you said, when they brought in like Jeff Johns and stuff like that, the problem is Jeff Johns does not come from an actual film background in the Hollywood the film industry. He came from comics and didn't know how to marry the two. Kevin Feige has background in both and knows how to marry them. And I think this is the kind of thing where DC will say as much as they can possibly say it and people will hear it. No, we don't want Kevin Feige. No, we don't want that MCU connection and connectivity and stuff between our films until he becomes available, and then they snatch him up, and then it's a different story. So you want to save face and say, "Oh, we don't need that." The second it becomes available, you want that.
Because they don't need Kevin Feige in order to have continuity and have that kind of mindset of joining the films together and having a direct, clear vision. Right. They consult with the other creators and work together. But those
guys read the books. They read the books, man.
It's not like Feige is like the only person capable of saying, here's multiple projects, let's get them on a course.
No, but he's the guy with the proven track record of making billion-dollar movie after billion-dollar movie, and that's what they care about. They want the billion-dollar movies. They're not really. If all of these movies were successful and making like boatloads of money without being critically panned and stuff like that, then Warner Brothers wouldn't care. But when you have multiple flops that they've had, that's when it becomes an issue, and that's when they're going to want money.
Okay, hold up, because we're going to get into that discussion, because that's going to be like pretty much one of the last discussions that I want to kind of get into. But before we jump into that, and into all of that, I want to kind of move on to the next one, and I want to start here with Fairy Blurred Mother, because I know this is something near and dear to her heart, and I know it's near and dear to my heart as well, but I kind of wanted to kind of just focus in on this portion of it, because I think when we talk about evolution and we talk about where things go, we can't help but talk about something I think it's kind of near and dear to all of us, because I think, us as a society can relate to these characters, and each of us are able to kind of relate to in any one of these characters. Any choice of character that you pick, there's a storyline, there's a narrative, there's something that you can probably kind of relate to. So what I want to kind of jump into here is, we're going to move on to like what I want to call the evolution of pretty much the X-Men. I'm talking about, of course we know Godfather himself, Chris Claremont. He introduced something that I think, when it comes to the X-Men, something that I think is just so synonymous to what it is to exist in a world where things for us, as a society, we are judged. Whether it's the content of your character, your skin, just your sexuality or whatever you choose, you're judged by that. Living in a world where the X-Men are completely separate from, this particular world, the world that we know, and how they've actually always had to fight for just existence. I think that, this book itself and the X-Men, it tells a story that I guarantee the entire world can relate to. Fairy Blurred Mother, how do you see, like, just from your first introduction, because you said that when you read or when you saw the X-Men, the first time you saw them was at the animated show, right? The animated TV show, correct?
Yes.
So
that was my introduction.
That was your introduction. So when you like, if just knowing the X-Men, it's a two-part question here. So what do you feel about the X-Men in a whole, and how much does it touch bases with you? And what character would you say that you're most familiar with? A character that you can relate mostly to.
I love the X-Men. There's my favorite comic book team, my favorite comic book line. I love them to death. Storm, obviously. I love her. As soon as I saw her, I was in love with her. And I've just loved her ever since. She's had a lot of she hasn't had a lot going on for her in the movies, which I am just distraught over.
For now.
I'm hoping that the minds over at Marvel can fix that over at Marvel Studios. But the X-Men, I just, like, even when they weren't great, I still love them. Like, the X-Men was the only comic book I read for a long time, like literally the only one. Like, I enjoyed Batman, but I really wasn't following his comics like that, because Batman is like my DC go-to. But yes, Latoya, yes. But I always read the X-Men no matter what. They were just like my staple. And the newest iteration of the comics, I was so skeptical. I was so scared. I was like, please don't mess this up. I'm loving where they're taking it. I'm loving how they like evolve them and revamp them, and everybody's just like, everybody's a badass. Like everybody who mutants that didn't ever get a second look are getting like huge parts to play in big storylines, and I'm just loving it, because for a long time it was like beat you over the head with Wolverine, and I love Wolverine. But I was just like,
that's my boy.
We get it, man. We get it, Wolverine. But I love what they've done recently with Professor X, because he's always been shady to me. Like, he's always been like smile in your face, but he's like really manipulative. So I feel like they're kind of wearing it like proudly now. Like, yes, I'm manipulating all of y'all now. Like, now everybody knows I'm running the show now, and I love it. I love his relationship with Magneto. I was like, when I started reading House of X and Powers of X, when they first like revamped everything, I was like, it was just like a weight was lifted off my shoulders, because I was like waiting for this reboot, and it was like, I like what y'all did. I like how y'all did it, and the whole Krakoa, the idea of Krakoa, I'm seeing how that could possibly work in the movies. So you know how when a comic book character is about to get a movie or whatever, the comic books will kind of tweak their story a little bit. Like it won't be like word for word their backstory for the movie, but they'll tweak it a little bit. So I'm kind of like seeing how they could make this kind of thing work in the MCU, and I'm feeling it. I like it. I'm loving everything I'm seeing so far. I love sassy, sinister, and fucking Magneto and Apocalypse, and like when Apocalypse was like when Apocalypse came to Krakoa, I was like, holy shit! Like,
about to go down.
Come on, man. He was like my children. Like, y'all did it. Y'all, come on, man. Y'all did it. Finally. I was like, oh my god. Brilliant. I love it.
Exactly, and it's brilliant because Jonathan Hickman. I mean, for me, he's we got Chris Claremont, but when I think of basically X-Men writers, I think of both Chris Claremont and Jonathan Hickman. I think of their runs because they make it so. And for Marvel to basically say, okay, Jonathan, we need a reboot. We need a complete reboot of the X-Men universe. What can you do? And it's like he was like, what can I do? Are you serious? Are you telling me that you want to give this to me? You want me to run with it and I can do whatever I want? Yes. Do whatever you want. Revamp. House of X, Powers of X. Yo, I've been engaged from day one. Like,
it's a lot of books.
It's a lot of books, but it's just like, yo, it is amazing. Vinny, I'm going to get to you. You know what? I'm saving both Vinny and the Enabler for last because them two, you know what I mean? Like, they got a lot of content going on up here, so I'm gonna save them basically for last. Yeah. But yo, Jedi Kid, man, have you read this run?
I haven't read this one.
Really?
I got the last one I read was when when she was talking about Xavier coming out the closet, letting everybody know I run the show.
Yeah, he's
like I thought he was Mr. Nice Guy until I started reading like the last 10 before this. I was like, what is he? And the fact that he's been in love with oh my god, what's my girl's name? Cyclops' wife.
Jean Grey.
Jean. He's been in love with Jean since day one.
Wow.
I didn't know that. Wow. And the fact that even after him and Onslaught disconnected, they still are like in sync. Him and Magneto.
Yeah.
This whole thing right now to me, which I have to get this new run. That's the ones I put off on when I found out that this guy was like a jerk the whole time. Like not the professor.
Yeah,
not the professor.
But you know what? What I loved about it was. Because the thing is, it's like not too many people are really mentioning the simple fact that they completely changed Maura MacTaggert's narrative.
Oh yeah.
What we know about her now, it was like, yo, like, wait a minute, you're a what? You know what I mean? Or you're what? Or
and
she has such and such.
It still kind of went back and kept most of the good canon. From back in the day, it didn't say, "Oh, well, all that shit is erased."
But they always played with Maura MacTaggert and Xavier's relationship, like they were going to get, they would get together or be together. I just never. I don't know, bro. They kept.
The thing is, they can veer one direction and then they pull a Houdini and they retcon you back into. So they can go down one path and then they can pull you back to somewhere in the middle between that and then the original kind of way of thinking. So that's one thing that I think the X-Men books more than any other book teaches you is that what's happening now can be crazy and can be awesome, but it may not still be what's going on tomorrow. Like everything can kind of veer.
Bro.
That's why there's just always possibilities, but I feel like they don't do it in a cheap way. Like the way that they shift you from one path to the next, you feel like you've earned it over the course of reading different runs.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Vinny.
Yeah, they see, like a lot of the pulls I get, I'll hold off for reading for a while, and X-Men would be for a long time one of the, like, let me wait to read that just because over the years with Fox owning them, they had like unwritten rule that you couldn't create New Mutants, that the storylines wouldn't be that great. They didn't
Well,
want.
they basically killed the X-Men
They
during
didn't
the
want
Fox
to-
run.
Right, they didn't want to keep feeding them new characters and new stories that they were allowed to use. As soon as they printed it, it was Fox's property, and
Right.
but with the acquirement, like one of the most amazing decisions was, all right, let's get this back on track and throw Hickman on it. And what Hickman did for Fantastic Four, what he did for the Avengers, the ideas that came from that man's genius mind was just incredible. So seeing that he's on this run, and it just it's something I'm behind on, but I'm looking so forward to like binging and catching up, because a lot of the stuff that he's done over the years has like built toward this and changed so much of where they're going, where they've been, that it's incredible. Like so much stuff that he has come up with is just insane. And I love some of the ideas that a lot of people have had over the years, like with Professor X. Like even as a kid, I remember just thinking like, oh, he never helps. He's like Dumbledore. He's like
always chilling
in the
always
man
in the house.
and just like looking out the window, like, y'all be safe. You got this.
Yeah.
15, 16-year-old kids, and like you
So
can go
lazy, he's always just sitting around.
He can go out there and stop
Sorry,
everything with a thought, and he's like,
You're
yo,
sending off teenagers to go fight guys like Apocalypse and Magneto, bro. Like,
go
come
to
on.
regular school, who couldn't go to regular class because they were freaks and they could hurt somebody, so their parents sent them to this boarding school. Little did they know that they were going to be fighting Juggernaut in the streets. Like, meanwhile, Professor X is like, yo, that looks, good luck. So anyway, today's lesson, he was always kind of shady. And he always, and especially being like one of the most powerful mutants, period, he almost, I remember as many comics I probably read growing up, I don't remember, but 2 or 3 times where he actually helped. it's just wild.
I'll be there in your mind. I'll be there, not physically, because I don't want to get blown up.
And look at it now as an adult.
He was like,
bro.
Like, what can I do? Oh,
right. He just sent them off.
Yep.
To fight all kinds of. I never looked at it like that until now.
And don't forget, send off a secret team that no one even knew about, and got them pretty much all killed, except for mainly 2. You know what I mean? So it's like,
it was kind of like Suicide Squad.
Exactly. Like you might as well say that pretty much he's like that.
Yeah.
So getting a chance to see, Xavier from this particular standpoint, where now he's thrusted out into the forefront. He's taken on. It's sort of like, it's sort of like looking at this. It's like Magneto's like, yo, I've been telling you that the whole damn time. I've been telling you where you've been at. And then when you look at Apocalypse, he's like, survival of the fittest. This is what I've been now I can work with you guys. I'm not here to destroy anyone. I'm here to work with you, because this is all I've been saying from day one. So the thing is, it's like, yo, when you see the evolution and you see how everything is right now, and you look back to everything that Apocalypse was trying to accomplish, was he really a villain? If you think about it, think about it, it causes you to go back and rethink. Now, mind you,
it's the same. Like, was Thanos a real villain in the MCU?
In the MCU?
It's funny.
He's touchy, bro. That's a touchy one, man.
They're the same thing with Magneto, because everybody gives Stan Lee all the props for the Martin and Malcolm conversion with Professor and Eric, but it was really God Loves Man Killed, where Claremont really gave Magneto humanity and heart, and kind of pulled back the curtain, and it was like, look, this dude is not what y'all think.
Anybody who hasn't watched that Chris Claremont documentary, you can watch it on Amazon Prime.
I just watched it like 2 days ago.
Good.
Amazing.
What did I miss?
It's a Chris Claremont documentary. You got to go on Amazon to watch it. You got to watch the whole thing, bro. It's like an hour and 20 minutes long, but you learn so much. All what was going on at Marvel when he was creating those books in the 90s, and everything that was happening with the Phoenix Saga, and they were they were trying to get him to do something edgy. He's like, all right, how about I'm gonna kill Jean Grey, and didn't think they were gonna say yes, and they're like, okay, good. And he's like, wait, what?
And they're like, no,
Wow.
you
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
go back. You said you're going to kill Jean Grey. Now you're going to
Go
kill
ahead
her.
and
He's
do
like,
it.
oh, now I got to go
Whoa.
kill Jean Grey.
Yeah.
And, you know, so that documentary is fire. You got to watch it.
Yeah, I gotta watch that. Man. I missed that one. So it's on
It's
Amazon.
great.
So let me put
Yeah,
that
it's
down
on
in the
Amazon
notes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's on
The
Amazon,
notes.
bro. You have to watch it. Like it's man, like it when you and then you hear the passion in his voice when he's
Yeah.
talking about these things and talking about basically how it's like
We
you
wouldn't
know,
have the X-Men if it weren't for him.
if it wasn't for
we
him.
would not.
And
But
and
today,
now exactly. But I'm so happy that now it's in great hands with Jonathan Hickman. You know what I mean?
I
It's
also feel like
definitely great hands.
I also feel like
Hickman's a freaking great writer, man.
I also feel like Claremont opened the door for more dialogue and verbose-driven comics. Because
Mhm.
as a kid, I remember there'd be a lot of comics where you would read real fast and it was mostly action. Wouldn't be a lot of narrative. Wouldn't be a lot of dialogue.
no,
But
it takes a hot minute to read an X-Men book
reading the
nowadays.
X-Men
It
back
really
in the
does.
day,
It's
that
got
was
more real. They got more real life, man.
yeah,
Like,
it was
Yeah.
like a lot of dialogue, and not in a bad way.
Yeah.
It was just like it was more than just punches and powers, like we always say.
right,
It was
right,
just
right,
a lot of exposition, a lot
right,
of
right.
he put a lot of thought and care into those
Showing
characters,
more emotion of character design and character flaw.
and it paid off. It paid off.
Hmm.
No, for me, the X-Men, I've loved these books for one, they've got such a deep roster of characters.
Mhm.
And there's so many that haven't gotten their proper due in the films yet. Like Storm, for example, but even other ones that we barely even saw a glimpse of. Like I loved Psylocke, as a kid. She was a really cool, interesting character.
Yeah.
Nightcrawler looked cool in X2,
Yeah.
but there's so much more that you can do with Nightcrawler.
Mhm.
For me, like the
Colossus.
2019 run X-Men Red, when right after the Phoenix Resurrection, where they brought back Jean Grey.
Mhm.
That run, I mean that run right there in X-Men Red, that 11 issue run, it basically encapsulates like our actual world right now in hate and misinformation spreading online and poisoning people's against one another and things like, and it's so relevant to the times that we're in, and it was written so beautifully. I absolutely loved that run. And the thing is, X-Men comics were X-Men and still are, but like when I was growing up, like I was learning while I was reading X-Men without really knowing that I was learning, just about people and about empathy and stuff like that, and about race and religion, because X-Men were essentially like the Star Trek, OG original Star Trek show in the 60s, where they were taking on civil rights and all these things that nobody else was doing, like they did in Star Trek. And then in this one, I mean, the mutants are minorities, and anybody that feels downtrodden and the world doesn't treat them the same, the world hates them. And when you as a kid, when you grow up reading that kind of material or watching that on TV, you also like, because you're not, as a kid, nobody's born hateful. Like you're raised to do that kind of stuff. And the X-Men, it teaches you just like, this mutant, like that, they're really cool. That's not somebody, like, why is the world hating them? I remember like my 9-year-old she loved the character of Falcon in the Captain America movies and the Avengers and stuff. She was super hyped when Sam Wilson became Captain America, and when that show was on Disney Plus. She loved it. To her, it's like, yeah, that's awesome. He's the new Captain America. Awesome. Loved it. And when you grow up with that kind of content and you see the diversity, and I think there's no book that better shows diversity than the X-Men. With powerful male and female characters, with people looking so different, because you have characters that in other books and stuff, like comics, like Captain America or others that like are wearing different costumes, but the person in the costume still looks the same. But
Right.
the physical appearance is so different from character to character in the X-Men, like Beast and Colossus and Nightcrawler, and you know, that there's just you and Bishop and you know, Iceman. It's just like you have this like cast of characters where you just see so many different faces that it's one of the fun things about those books. And so for me, that's been like a core of those books is a massive cast. So that, yeah, you're going to have X-Force and Weapon X and X-Factor, and you're going to have all the Uncanny.
Yeah.
You're going to have all the different books. But you have crossover so much because we show that all those characters can, you know, and it's cool how, like, I mean, Storm has been a leader of the X-Men, Jean Grey, Cyclops, Kitty Pryde, who I never thought Kitty Pryde would end up rising to the level where she would be one of the leaders of an X-Men team. So all of that stuff just makes me love the X-Men for, I think it doesn't get enough credit for being a part of the cultural zeitgeist in a way that even other really, really great comics just haven't reached that level. The X-Men do it.
It's one of the things I think that hurt the films to expand upon their more female presence, because so many of, while they were trying to make a female version, they were deciding Captain Marvel or whatever, so many of the best female superheroes were in X-Men and they couldn't use them.
Yep.
So like so many of the ones we want to see movies of were in properties that they get their hands on. And to your point about the political aspects of it, it's what makes it so funny when people complain about politics and these superhero movies. Like, who wants to see politics and superhero movies? It's like, have you ever read?
That's what X-Men was built on.
That's what
it was. Like,
it's throughout so many of the comics that we've read growing up. It's just like the old cartoons. Every single cartoon, every single comic had a moral that they were trying to get across under the guise of explosions and laser beams and flight.
Right.
It's so much more to it than just.
That's why people underestimate the amazing storytelling that there's been in comics over the years, and there still is, because they look at it as just, oh, it's just like, you know, superpowers for kids and stuff like that. And it's like, no, if you actually really listen to the stories, if you really break down, you know, just like, you know, Falcon and Winter Soldier and the story that was, you know, that was in that, you wouldn't have that message and that story in this medium if the comics didn't have this history of that, you know.
That seemed like such a political, like, polarizing concept for a show until you realize that it's based on the damn miniseries. It's called Truth. And it's like, if you pick it up, read it, it's like, it's right there. It's
and the comics have never been about right or left. They've been about just like people being good to each other.
Yeah.
You know, but somehow that becomes like a political thing when, like I said, it's about empathy and about these like characters being able to like to live together and not hate each other. And all of these books, like I said, I think X-Men goes above and beyond a lot of other books, but comic books in general have always been like using like super kind of elements to still relate people to actual real life. And I think sometimes, you know, people who aren't really, you know, crazy deep into comics like some of us are, they don't stop to realize that there is a lesson in there. There is real writing. Not to mention, writing for comic books, when you've got such a finite amount of space to tell a really good story, man, comic book writers are some of the best writers like
around. Yeah,
absolutely.
But see, to get back to when you were saying about, you know, women not being used as much in the movie media when it comes to comics. I mean, look at X-Men. They didn't use Jean as much. Storm was underrated. They didn't use Psylocke that much. They didn't use Rogue. I mean, they used her for a few minutes in the first. You got the first film of the X-Men. That was it. No Jubilee. No Jubilee. It's like, you know, like.
And granted, they didn't have like top tier actresses for some of those other characters, but you had Halle Berry as Storm, and you didn't do anything with that.
That was it, bro. I was disappointed. For 3 movies, bro.
Four, because she was in.
She's one of the strongest X-Men on the team, and I don't know, man. Those characters right there, to me, I mean, as a kid seeing them, like, whoa, these women can really like kick. You know what I'm saying? They can really tear something up. Yeah. You know what I mean? And for them to be so underused in the films, like, I don't know what Fox was thinking, bro.
You know what? It's the thing is, it's not only Fox, but we gotta all don't make him don't let him escape it. You know, because we knew that Bryan Singer. Come on,
Bryan
bro.
Singer.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, of
Singer.
course.
Bryan Singer, bro.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He favored a different type of profile. I'm gonna say it like that. That was more. That wasn't what his goal was to push the females.
I mean,
especially
you
once
got a
they-
character like Storm, and you downplay her in the films, which is fighting a freaking frog guy, and that's it. That's the first film. Like, come on, dude.
What you say, Fairy Godmother?
Oh, I was just saying those movies mischaracterized a lot of characters though. Like it wasn't just Storm, even though Storm was the most heartbreaking for me personally. But just Cyclops, I'm like,
yeah, they did him dirty. They did him
what?
dirty.
Yeah.
They gave him
And
nothing
Cyclops
to
is always
do.
one of my favorites too. They did him dirty.
And I've never
nothing.
been, I was never a fan of Cyclops until he became like this underdog for me because I'm like, Cyclops is more than this. Like y'all have to see that he's more than this.
Right.
So I was just like, I was
And
shocked.
even if the writers and directors don't love that character, that if you're gonna kill him, do it well. Like it was bad writing. It was just
that was terrible in that movie, man.
Overall, that was just. But here's the thing. Honestly, I think Fox got tunnel vision. They realized, oh wow, we just discovered a star in Hugh Jackman. And Wolverine is obviously a fan favorite. So they were just like, we're gonna do everything with this character, and then we're just gonna kind of modify everything else around this character. And that's no offense to Hugh Jackman because he's awesome.
Awesome, oh yeah.
I loved him in Wolverine. I love that Days of Future Past hot toy. I absolutely love it. But they got tunnel vision, and you can't get tunnel vision with a franchise like X-Men. There are too many stories to tell with too many amazing characters that like you've got to be able to do them justice. And when you start skimping on those, I mean, just because you think of all the major arcs that X-Men have had, Days of Future Past, which they did that movie well, I admit. But that also could have been like its own trilogy. All right?
Way better,
The Executioner's song. Executioner's song. The Phoenix Saga, which they screwed up twice. You know, it's like and to the point where I love the Phoenix Saga, but I almost don't want Marvel and Disney to even touch it because it's like, you know what?
It's been done so many times.
I want something new. And look at what they've got though. Look at the X-Men. They have one of the best lineups of villains that you could ever come across. Apocalypse, Mr. Sinister. Mr. Sinister's design was so cool. Omega Red. You've got the Hellfire Club. You've got there's so much like
give me Sebastian Shaw. Give me the right version of Sebastian Shaw.
They're gonna have to do it. They're gonna have to dig into the bag because I don't know if they're gonna want to be like, oh, Magneto again. Because Magneto
what about Scott? Like with Cyclops,
I don't want that. But that's the thing too. I don't want them to feel like we can't do any of these stories or villains that we just.
I don't think they feel like that at all.
In almost every instance, they hooked it up. So I would be open to seeing them try Apocalypse again. Obviously, we want to see Apocalypse done right. But, and even Magneto. Magneto is so crucial to the lore that I don't want them to say.
To go back to what you said about tunnel vision when they just looked at Logan and that was it.
Yeah.
Bro, freaking Scott's dad is a space pirate. How cool is that, bro? Like, he got the whole backstory. His dad's a freaking space pirate, bro.
Right.
He's a
There's so
Starjammer.
much that they could
Nobody talks about that at all.
Even in the comics, they mention that. Yeah.
They see. I'm not worried about what Marvel and Disney and Kevin Feige are going to do with the X-Men, though. I would have been worried if they already started introducing it to us.
Exactly.
The fact that they're taking their sweet-ass time with this makes me think they're doing this the right way.
Exactly.
They realize that there were some high moments, but most of them were low when it came to the Fox universe. And they realized, same thing with the Fantastic Four, they realized, wow, they messed up 3 different times with the Fantastic Four. We're going to get this right. So they're slow playing this, and that's why if they started like giving us teaser trailers and stuff already and casting announcements, I'd be worried. They're not doing that. I have more confidence. That's like I will wait. I will wait another 5 years if it means you do it right.
Do it right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
100%.
agree.
That's that, and I
agree.
totally agree. And that's the thing is, it's like with Kevin Feige right now, he has the playground, and he's always said that, you know, even like earlier talks, he was like, look, I wish we had the X-Men. And he even went on to say that I wish it was done a totally different way. You know, deep down, he was just like, yo, like, you completely effed up a franchise that was so promising. You know what I mean? And the thing is, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to say that certain things, you know, certain elements of the movies weren't entertaining.
Right.
However, I just think that they just went too far. They took it somewhere where it became more marketable instead of just actually having, or going, not even using, but just having a proper narrative, writing a story that was just like where people could really understand what these characters really mean. And I think it was a missed opportunity. So now that it is with Marvel, like you said, I'm so happy. I am so happy that Kevin Feige is saying, you know what? He's not even, because when that discussion even comes up, he bypasses it. He's like, look, we have plans.
Just slow your roll. We'll
Just slow down. We'll get to it. Even with the Fantastic Four, everybody's so jumping. And I understand now that, you know, he even went on by saying, like, look, you know, I know everybody everybody is saying that they want to play these characters, but we already have an idea. He's not going to give you what you want, but he's going to give you the proper story. And that's all I care about.
Need. Nobody was saying we want Hugh Jackman before Hugh Jackman was Wolverine.
Exactly.
So let's just give him a minute. Now, my question, this is driving me nuts. What the hell is Sideshow waiting for? Why do we not have this whole line right on that screen now? Okay, they've given us Cyclops and Wolverine and Magneto. Cool. The figures have their flaws, but I will take them because they're those 90s comic representations. The Magneto one I love, okay? Cyclops and Wolverine are decent. They've got some flaws, but I'm willing to have them all together because I love the X-Men. But if they have the comic license, the license to the comic iterations, not movies, but can actually start putting those out, what the hell are you waiting for? All right?
I don't know.
Like, first of all, I think So-So Toys Gambit looks better than the Sideshow one. That's already ordered. I've got the So-So Toys ones pre-ordered. Hell yeah.
Ordered it, bro.
All right.
It's already paid off. I'm waiting for it to come.
Look at these Beast, Colossus. I've got the Toys era Colossus from the Deadpool movies, all right? But do those Cable. Give me an Angel, an Archangel. Give me all these. Why are you not making these characters
Jubilee,
right now if you have this license?
Bro.
Yeah. You have this license. Why are you not making these? Why are you not making some of the villains? Because nobody makes villains these days.
Nope.
Make these characters, and people will buy them. There's no competition in the 6-scale market for that right now.
No.
There's none.
No.
All right?
I've been there waiting to see
Sideshow,
how
get your shit together.
Right. You said it. You said it.
Yeah, we'll see. Which is basically right now going to segue into because we started the discussion, but I want to kind of segue into the next discussion because it is something to be talked about. Like I said, we when we think about the next phase, we thinking about where we're going as far as the Marvel universe, even like I said with the MCU and the DCEU. We want to basically think about where are we taking it now? Where is this ship going to go? Are we going to actually see, the films that we want? Or are we going to see them done right now? We know in Feige we trust. So we'll start there. We'll start with Marvel first because the dumpster fire is always the end. But like I said, we can talk about whether or not we'll see growth or whatever. But we'll talk about we'll get with Marvel first because I think if we kind of dive into that, it's like the calm before the storm. You know what I mean? That's what I want to kind of look at. So
you want to end with a kick to the nuts? That's what.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, all right.
I know where he's gonna go with these.
That's a weird fetish. Okay.
So
it's the calm before the storm. So we want to talk about that first. So as far as the MCU, we know that we have a complete wheelhouse of films that are up and coming. Next film that we actually have coming first is Shang-Chi. Next film beyond or after that, we're gonna actually, and I can't wait for Shang-Chi. That's my most anticipated.
Yeah. That's gonna be good, bro.
And then after that, we actually have the Eternals, so on and so on. We still basically have, the Disney Plus series.
Spider-Man.
Don't forget Spider-Man. Exactly.
I'm
When
just
we
saying,
get it-
if we don't
when we get
come
it-
away, if we
damn
don't come
trailer.
away, if we don't come away from the Eternals,
Yeah.
if we don't come away from the Eternals with 6 scales of Salma Hayek and Angelina Jolie, I'm stopping collecting.
They probably won't. That's the thing. Like, I don't know what Hot Toys does, bro. They probably won't. And that's the thing about them, bro. Like, they go for what they think sells.
But those two are literally the 2 biggest names in that film.
Right.
There are other actors who are good, but like, and I look, dude, I've got love for Kumail Nanjiani, okay?
Right.
But like, he is not Salma Hayek. He is not Angelina Jolie. Those are the 2 biggest names. The 2 biggest names are those 2 leading ladies in that movie. And if we don't get those, what the hell?
Well, but that's if their character is what sells, if they have like some kick-ass parts in that movie, then
it's Salma Hayek and Angelina Jolie. They're gonna have kick-ass parts in that movie.
You know what? We'll definitely get a Angelina. That we already know, because like I said, they already have the head sculpt, so that's just something that's
true. Yeah.
We're not gonna. Let me ask you, Fairy Blurred Mother.
You've said her name different every single time.
Because Blurred is Fairy Blurred Mother. Because the thing is, it's like, yo, she changes it so many times. She's changed.
The next time you say it, it's gonna be
twice is enough for me. Twice is enough for me.
You're gonna sound like one of Charlie Brown's teachers. He's saying her name again.
Exactly. But listen. Where do you think? I mean, in your opinion, like I said, if you're looking at the direction that the MCU is going right now, Marvel is going, and now you got to think that they're basically in under a process of trying to reclaim the entire IP. We have Fox. We have Fox, so there's only I think maybe 2 more you might as well say that they're basically working right now, with Sony. So Sony and Marvel are pretty much playing buddy right now. So we know that. But then we have to deal with we have to deal with what? Universal, right? So we still have to deal with.
I think that's not fixed, but I think they're. I don't know. I don't foresee the Hulk getting his own show or movie, but I think that is smoothed over. I think they've come to terms with that. He'll just be in other people's stuff.
He's contracted. Tom Holland's contracted for I think 2 non-Spider-Man, or it might be 3 non-Spider-Man full MCU movies. So an Avengers, or he shows up in something else. But I know it's at least 2 or 3. Other MCU movies that he's supposed to be in that aren't Sony movies.
He'll probably definitely be in something with Doctor Strange. You know that.
Yeah. Multiverse of Madness. There's a good chance that even if it's a cameo or something, the thing is, it's too lucrative for both sides.
Right.
An Avengers movie for sure. But I don't know. I feel like Marvel knows what they're doing. I don't have to worry about Marvel. I feel like they have a blueprint. It's probably out 10 years. Kevin Feige probably got.
Oh yeah, he said they've got it through 2030 or something planned.
Exactly. We don't.
What you have to worry about is Walter Hamada and Warner Brothers. That's what you have to worry about.
Yeah, we'll get to them in a second.
And if Sony wants to fill Froggy again and take Spider-Man away again. But
I don't even want to talk about Warner Brothers. Let's stay with Marvel, because
and the thing about Marvel that's so crazy is they beat DC to the punch every time, and it's so sad because I want to DC is just like that person you're in a relationship with that you just I can change you. I can if I can just will it. I can change you.
You can't change.
You
never change. They never change.
They won't let you change them. That's the thing.
I know we're not talking about DC right now, but DC is I guess a couple years ago or last year they were all right, well, all of our stuff is the one shots. We're in a multiverse. If you don't like this wasn't in the same universe as this, so you didn't even got to worry about it. It's our part.
That didn't work for Fox. It's not going to work for Warner Brothers.
And they're okay, it's a multiverse, right? But then this year, Marvel came and they was this how you do a multiverse. We're going to show you how to do a multiverse. Here you go. Boom,
And then when you
multiverse.
keep screwing up, DC,
So-
we're just gonna make fun of you using Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool, just making fun of Green Lantern and
I
everything.
hate that.
now-
Every
so
time
now-
he does that, this is like a shot in the heart when he does that too.
So now people are looking at Marvel and like, okay, well, this is how multiverse is supposed to be. Here's their proven track record. Here's a multiverse, and then you go back to DC and you're like, well, wait.
And you
How
know,
is this a
Marvel does have a redheaded stepchild that they're a little worried about. Sorry to all you redheads out there, but they do have that one little corner of the Marvel kind of mythos that worries them a little bit, and that's the Venom movies.
Oh,
And that's this new Venom and
That's the
Carnage
thing,
because
but
it's
that's
this
the thing.
completely Sony controlled, not like the
Yeah,
Spider-Man
yeah.
ones that they're involved in. The
But-
completely Sony controlled. That's the one that makes them nervous.
it does. And
Because
with
if they
good
mess up
reason.
Carnage, that's gonna hurt.
And they're making me nervous as time goes on. They're making me a little bit nervous with Venom
See,
too.
that story right there. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. The thing
Go ahead.
about Venom is, and the thing about Spider-Man being with Sony
Mhm.
is, now that they have a
Mhm.
multiverse, I feel like this multiverse came at the perfect time because now they can just be
Mhm.
like, well, Spider-Man got sucked into some fucking multiverse shit, and now he's over here, and he
Yeah,
can come
yeah,
back and play with us. But when he's over there, he's over there. They don't.
But they
have
also
to make
finished their
unless
main
they want.
story. They finished their main story and they didn't rush into doing that.
Right.
Where
Right.
you've had Warner Brothers and you've had Fox that have been like, we're doing this thing. Well, now we're gonna jump into this thing and we're gonna
Right.
relate it somehow to that. It's like no, they
Mhm.
did their Infinity Saga, and they're like, okay, boom, done. Now we open up the possibilities, and they told that story in a way that then segued perfectly. And I knew that Loki was going to be such an important show that
Yeah,
people
yeah.
were sleeping on how important that was going to be.
Yeah.
In the exact same way, Shang-Chi and the Eternals are so much more important to this next phase of the MCU than people who are not all that up on those books realize. These guys, like those, that's the groundwork for everything.
Eternals,
And
Now-
people sleep on that.
And with
Vinny-
the Venom thing, what bothers me is this. I know it was a good movie. I liked it. I actually enjoyed it. But the fact that Venom didn't meet Peter first,
That's why Sunny Venom doesn't exist in this dojo. Not to me, man.
that's the
Yeah,
part
the
that
whole-
makes my skin crawl. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to
Nice Karate Kid reference there, but
right. The Eddie Brock thing, like, come on, like
that does hurt because
Yeah.
it's such a like
It's
it's such a rich area. But I don't know, because I almost, as much as it pains me that you don't have that Spider-Man hook in that, and then you don't have the real origins of Carnage. It looks like that's going to be modified in this too.
he just bit him on the hand.
Yeah, and you don't have, because I love Woody Harrelson as
Perfect.
Cletus
That's
Cassidy.
perfect.
I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
And visually, like Carnage looks amazing in
Yeah,
that trailer.
it looks
I'm down
good,
with that. But the story and not having the core, the heart of that being Peter, that
Right.
does hurt me a little bit. But I'm also kind of like, well, you know what? I'm almost kind of glad that they're not trying to do it because I wouldn't have faith that Sony could do it right by themselves.
Right,
That's got to
right.
be an MCU thing. That's got to be a Kevin Feige and Marvel thing, not Sony trying to do it. Because they'll screw it up. And we've already had one bad Venom incarnation. Spider-Man 3 was
Spider-Man 3
that was hot garbage. That
was
I threw up in my mouth. And that's just, I'm left with that taste.
But they tried. At least they tried. I give.
No, they did.
tried.
Sam Raimi hates the character of Venom. He didn't want to make that, and the studio made him, and so then he just half-assed it.
he wanted.
Oh,
To,
that's why he made it suck then.
Vinny,
But-
what were you saying?
Wow.
he wanted to do Vulture, and they made him do Venom because of how much money he would make, and he was like, "All right."
And then a much more successful movie, the MCU, when they used the Vulture, and it's great.
And it's great.
I wish I would have been in a room with Raimi watching Michael Keaton tear it up as Vulture when that's what he wanted to do all along.
Yeah.
Let him do. And the most frustrating part is if they would have let him do Vulture first, it would have let Spider-Man be more mature by the time he would have needed to face Venom in the first place, because Venom was someone who came across in his life when he'd already been Spider-Man for years and was strong enough to fight him. It's like you don't make Thanos the Avengers villain in the first movie. You let him grow up until you have to fight someone who's more powerful.
That also needed to be multiple movies, at least 2 movies, because you had to have Peter going off the rails with the black symbiote suit, and then Venom really, and then the second movie is where Venom really, that's what they needed. But sometimes they try and rush a storyline and fit it into one movie.
With Sandman, it's like it didn't.
Yeah,
it's insane.
But it's like
he don't even.
I just don't like
2 years, and he's fighting Sandman and Venom in the same movie.
Right. We should have had the Sinister Six by now. It should have been boom. We've got these great stories that we're telling over time, and then you have the Sinister Six like that. The fact that we didn't get that. Was ridiculous. And now I'm of the mind that, personally, I enjoyed the Andrew Garfield movies more than I enjoyed the Tobey Maguire
I liked him, bro.
movies.
I think he was a great Spider-Man.
I think that there were some flaws in that. Yeah. But he was a great Spider-Man. Here's a
I like him as Spider-Man.
This is an admittedly hot take, but I went back and I rewatched the first Spider-Man movie with the Green Goblin, like the first Sam Raimi movie. Yeah. Man, Doo-doo stew. That movie does not hold up. Does not hold up. I don't care what anybody says. The CG is horrible. The acting is atrocious. Okay.
Which movie was this?
The first Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
The first Raimi movie. Go back and watch it, because we're thinking about it with rose-colored glasses. You're thinking about the 100%. Nostalgia. You go back and watch that movie, and that movie is, I mean, it's like I felt like I had to do the walk of shame the next morning after watching that. I felt dirty. That movie is bad, okay? I'm sorry, it is just
okay,
bad.
hold up. Time out. So
I told you it was going to be a hot take, but
time out. So here's why I enjoy Raimi's films. Man. Why I enjoy Raimi's films.
Because you were drunk when you watched them.
No. Hold up. Okay. So the reason why I enjoy it is for me, strictly is because I stick with nostalgia. It's when you look at these films, especially 1 and 2, I don't really count 3 because it is what it is. But what I'm basically saying is that first film to me is strictly nostalgia. It's just like I'm reading pages. I'm looking at it from a cinematic value. You can look at, you say the dialogue was this, that, but if you look at the dialogue from a comic perspective, it makes perfectly good sense. And that's where I'm looking at it from. I'm not looking at it to please. The thing is, I always have to step in the realm as I am a comic book collector. I'm not saying that you have to please me and write anything specifically for me. Who's this comic girl trying to join in? Is that, it was a comic. Somebody was just trying to, anyway. Somebody just logged in, but now listen, I'm strictly looking at it from a standpoint where it's like seeing, if I'm watching a cinema, if I'm watching the movie itself, it's just like I'm looking at the covers of an actual page turn. The way he shot it was brilliant because he shot it as if you were watching, and I'm just talking about
I'm a video
done. Man. Hold on a second.
Oh,
I'm
man.
watching it in terms of how it was shot. If I'm looking at the pages of a book, if you look at the blocking and stuff like that, it was the same attempt that they tried in the Hulk film. It didn't work, but it was the same attempt. That's what I'm looking at it from. Myself, and like I said, it's always subjective, and it also is an opinion.
You know how that movie looks best? You know how the Raimi movie, you know how that first Raimi movie looks best? When you close your eyes.
Nah.
That's how it looks best.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Now, but what you said.
Because I'm going to tell you the reason why I liked it, and the reason why I didn't, and the reason why I think even they need to change the pacing that they're actually attempting to make with Far From Home, with Homecoming and stuff like that. The reason why is because, look, I understand that you're going that route, but it's like, you're not, okay, I appreciate the simple fact that you're not doing the origin story. But, since when was Spider-Man ever dependent on another character? That's the problem that I actually have, is the dependency that they make, and you just shoehorn Tony Stark in just because
he's
you
Iron
want
Man.
Exactly, he's Iron Man, and you want other people to watch it because you're trying to bring in a certain audience.
I think that was a mentorship from
Spider-Man having no spider sense.
What you say?
No, he did.
Yeah,
The Peter Tingle. The Peter Tingle.
He didn't have it in the beginning.
But there was. Yeah, but here's the thing, though. There was a certain level of mentorship between Tony Stark and Peter Parker that played very strongly into the original Civil War comic book run, where he convinced him to reveal his secret identity and everything. So,
but they're going too far ahead. You're too far ahead. You're going exactly. That's way too far ahead.
Yeah, but obviously
we can't
the
go that
timelines
far.
are going to be different in the movies versus the comics.
I get that, but at the same time, you're still going too far ahead, and you're only doing it. You're clearly doing it, even though they want to basically say, and I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna let you come in here. They're clearly doing it.
What's her name now?
Dara. Her name is Dara. So
it's different every time.
They're clearly doing it. They're clearly doing it because they are trying to basically shoehorn. They're trying to basically bring in that audience. They're doing it for ratings. They're doing it because they want to make money without telling. Look, I want it. Yeah, but it's true. But at the same time, it's like, do you have to? No, you don't. Spider-Man can stand on his own 2 feet.
I understand the reasoning they're doing it.
Yeah, but Spider-Man can stand on his own 2 feet. He doesn't have to actually depend on anyone in the very beginning. Let him grow. Let's see him grow. Other films, you've never seen that, but with this particular iteration, you've actually had to see it.
The whole time by Tony.
I didn't like that. That's one of the things that took me completely out of it.
I think the thing, though, is that Tom Holland was not a known commodity. He wasn't an A-list actor, and Robert Downey Jr. was. So I think that was less of not relying on not having faith in the character, and it was more, look, we know Robert Downey Jr. is coming to an end in the MCU, and he's the core, he's the rock, he's the big star of it, and we're gonna use that to not bring Peter Parker up, but to bring Tom Holland up. I think it was more about the actors than it was about the characters in that regard. So that's why I'm not totally put out by the way that they did it with the characters, because I think they weren't. I don't think any of them were discounting the characters. I think it was about the actors and making those work for the larger MCU.
So having Tony in there was boosting up Peter. Well. Tom.
It was RDJ and Tom Holland. Tony and Peter.
Max's geekdom brings up a very interesting point. Tobey Maguire wasn't that known. He was known, but he wasn't that known. And they still basically, we're not talking, you got to think about it this way.
But also Tobey Maguire sucked and Tom Holland is better.
Hold up though. No. This is what I disagree. I so disagree. But listen, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Tobey Maguire, they didn't depend. It's not about, look, we're depending on the actor to tell, okay, cool. But it's about the character. Spider-Man himself sells a lot. You don't need to depend on anybody else. Spider-Man himself will sell. They've proved
Peter
that.
has to sell it too, though.
Yeah.
The alter ego has to sell it too. It's like Bruce Wayne got to sell Batman.
Exactly. But you have, so basically, if we look at Andrew Garfield, we look at Andrew Garfield and we look at Tobey Maguire.
Garfield
2 different individuals. He killed it. He killed it, but it was the writing that kind of failed them. It was good. It was great. It was good. Don't get me wrong, but it was the writing that kind of failed them, especially in the second one. They had momentum with the first one.
What about the writing do you think failed them?
But the thing is, in the first 2 franchises, they weren't working with another studio who wanted to get their shine too.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're right.
That brings plus and minuses. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's kind of like if Sony or Marvel, either one, had done that Spider-Man movie independently, they probably wouldn't have relied on another huge character to pump up Peter. It's because together they were trying to basically bring people on board, especially people who for years that they were Marvel Studio fans who shat all over the Fox, the Sony Spider-Man movies, to say, look, now it's okay to like Spider-Man movies. Now it's okay to go because now they're buddies. And there's a lot of people who didn't go see those Sony Spider-Man movies because they wanted it to bomb and revert back to Marvel. And this was
that's true. I think that sucks because I think Andrew Garfield actually did a great job as
I love
Spider-Man.
that he added jokes to
especially the second one, man. The second
I
one was
also
really good,
dug, me personally, I also really dug their reimagining of the story of Peter's parents and the mystery
that was
around
cool.
them. I liked
Yeah.
that because I thought
Yeah, that
it
was
was bringing something new to the character
Mhm.
because
That's some
there are so many
stuff.
things. It's like, how many times can we see Uncle Ben die? How many times can we see,
Right.
Thomas and Martha Wayne die and the goddamn pearls fall in
Right,
slow
right, right,
motion?
right,
Enough
right,
with
right.
the pearls. I'm done with
Right,
the
right,
pearls.
right. I get enough of that Gotham City with the Pearl.
Right, I liked that they tried something different. That they,
Right.
sometimes those pay off, sometimes those irritate people. I know, there are certain people who didn't like the change to Taskmaster. I know there are certain people who didn't like the change to other
didn't.
characters. But I thought that was at least something that was inspired. I thought they were laying the groundwork for something cool, and I
Yeah.
do feel like Andrew Garfield got a raw deal on that.
Yeah, he definitely did.
Because I think The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is not a great movie. I think it's a lot better than people give it credit for. I
Yeah.
think they just underutilized and didn't write well enough for Jamie Foxx. And I'm not a big fan of, was it Dane DeHaan, the guy that they got to play Harry. I don't think that it was necessarily the story they had in mind for Harry was bad. I didn't like the actor. That was my thing.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man 2.
The story for Harry was cool, but just that
Arcade
him
machine.
as an actor was.
Yeah, he wasn't a good actor.
How they went
Yeah.
that route? Hey, Daryl, what were we gonna say?
I honestly don't even remember. That was like a couple of conversations ago. But
My bad.
no, just the thing about Iron Man being so involved in Spider-Man movies. I was gonna touch on exactly what the guy who's always right says. That basically it was just for corporate synergy,
Yeah.
and it
What
turned
did you
out.
think about the Andrew Garfield movies?
Oh, don't.
I like Andrew Garfield, and I do think he loved being Spider-Man, and I love that he loved that, but it just was not for me. It was too soon, and then it was I don't know if it was the writing or the plot or I just
For both of them,
like
or just
I didn't like him as Peter. I liked him as Spider-Man, but I didn't like him as Peter Parker.
See, I was the reverse. I couldn't stand Tobey Maguire as Peter Parker, but I was okay when he was Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
When it was Peter Parker and you could see his face, he just has a very punchable face. I just want to punch his face. But as Spider-Man,
Nobody liked him,
as fine.
so.
I much preferred Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy.
Gwen Stacy
in those movies than I did Kirsten Dunst as Mary Jane.
Mary Jane,
I mean, she was literally just there to scream. Like every scene she was in, she just screamed. Ah!
Yes.
Whereas Mary Jane is actually she's got a lot more depth to her in the books. Like she's actually been a very strong character. And they had opportunities to maybe
Stark Enterprises for a little while. Matter of fact,
she did, and they. I mean, if you get deep enough, then you can actually start, telling stories with her and like Black Cat and things like that.
Yeah.
There's so much. I mean, and that's one of the cool things though that they actually teased. No, he don't like Toby. That's one of the things that they actually teased in the Andrew Garfield movies. Lael, you appreciate this. Our girl from Rogue One, she was gonna be Felicia Hardy. She was gonna be Black Cat. So there was a lot. There was a lot there that I think
Felicity Jones. She actually played Felicia Hardy.
She was Jyn Erso in Rogue One. If you go back and watch it, she's in a couple scenes. She's like the secretary that that Harry decides to elevate and be his like personal assistant and through all the rest. And she was gonna be Felicia Hardy. She was gonna be Black Cat in subsequent movies.
Good, man.
Which is that was the thing that irritated me about Sony and with the Andrew Garfield. It's like the first movie was successful; it actually did well. The second movie they stumbled, and then they just canceled. They're like, "Oh wait, one misstep, and we're just not going to continue with it." Why? All right, so that one didn't work out. It's still Spider-Man. It's still bankable. Make a third movie and do it better.
At least give us Sinister Six. You show us all the power suits.
Right.
Dude, we've got teased to Sinister Six so damn
and then
often.
The movie's done. It's like, come on, man.
I mean, they did Rhino dirty in
that was
Spider-Man
hard. That
2,
was
though,
horrible.
Paul Giamatti
horrible.
and that suit. They screwed up on that.
Yeah, that was horrible.
The thing is, man, just bring in the writers from the comics into a writer's room with some writers, like film writers, and respect the source material a little bit better. I'm not saying you have to do perfect adaptations like word for word. I'm not looking for that at all.
Yeah.
But like understand the source material a little bit better and what drew people to it.
Yeah.
And you'll make a better movie.
Yeah, right. I agree.
All right, so in the interest of time, unfortunately, we got to kind of jump to the next topic because this one, it's going to be, well, not the next topic, but the next
dumpster fire.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, man! You would do this to me, man.
Hey, you have to. You have to. You have to.
Man,
you have to.
Yo,
That
I take
right there,
DC so personal, bro.
That text right there is the most exciting thing about the DCEU.
Yo.
That graphic should have an asterisk.
Listen.
Yeah,
Listen.
It should,
So
bro.
this is what I'm going to say. This is what I'm going to say because I want to kind of like, I mean, we're look at this and we see DC and I completely understand where everybody's coming from. And we know where they had some high points. We know they've actually hit the ultimate low points. And they haven't really done justice to the characters that they've actually been introduced with or introduced to. And we know that there's been a bit of controversy, with them itself. Now, it took us years, and I don't want to... Okay, so we got Man of Steel, okay? So we got Man of Steel, which, you go
right for the jugular, don't you?
I have to, because the thing is, we get Man of Steel, which I think was innovative, and I thought that there was an opportunity there to move forward in possibly a good direction. We've had this discussion plenty of times, Vinny. We've had this discussion plenty of times there about this a while ago. It's how they jump quickly from Man of Steel into Batman versus Superman without really fleshing
with no part
out,
two.
With
foreplay. No foreplay.
Exactly. They just dove right into it. So we see these things, we see them do that, and we talked about how we thought maybe, and I thought, if you give us Man of Steel, instead of diving strictly into B versus, you basically go into a Batman origin film itself. Go into that film first, and then give us Wonder Woman, and then if you want to bring them all together, you can do it pretty much after that. But the way they did it in the decision making of DC has cursed them, but they still haven't somewhat seen the light. I mean, Vinny, I'm gonna let you go first here, man. Like, I have to let you go first here because I mean, do you think that where DC is going next, do you think that it is promising, or do you think it's just going to be the same narrative? Do you think we're going to see the same thing?
Well, when, like, as you set up, they went from Man of Steel 2's idea into, wait, let's do Superman versus Batman, aka Dark Knight Returns, but let's also throw in Superman Doomsday. Oh, wait, let's also throw in Injustice. Wait, let's also throw in Flashpoint. Those are great ideas. Those all are great storylines. We got to do something to compete with Avengers over there making $1 billion. So let's do all that and set up Justice League right away. And the whole thing is really scatterbrained, and it's very, very chaotic and all over the place. And I feel like they've only gotten deeper into that hole for themselves. And along the way, they've made some like great movies almost by accident in a way, in that when they aren't focused on the big three, when you're not focused on the Trinity, it's almost like the suits who feel like they have to put their stamp on it get out of the way and let creators take the wheel, and it turns into a great project. I never expected anything great from Aquaman or Shazam, and those are fine films. I love them. Joker is amazing too. Those are all films that they didn't really have as much of a driving force behind a extended universe goal as they did with Batman versus Superman and Justice League and Wonder Woman movies and all those. When they try to do those films, it just seems to fall flat because they have so many different people, so many different chefs in the kitchen with different ideas and not a singular focus on what they want to do and where they want to go. And Zack Snyder had so many problems, and I didn't agree with all the decisions that he wanted to all the ways that he wanted to lead us down the road. But I felt like they were half in on him. So it's like you give him the wheel, then you take it from him, and then you didn't really have another way to go, and then you threw everything out. And then you said, oh, well, here's what it could have been, and then you show us that, and then people are like, okay, great. The Snyder Cut was actually like, okay, we see where he was going. We're gonna keep that though, right? Oh no. Well, we'll give you that idea. We're going completely different. We're gonna do some Earth 2 stuff and maybe another Suicide Squad. I don't know. We'll see what we come up with. They're just spitballing, and it's an incredibly bizarre tactic considering across the street we have Marvel saying, "Oh, we know what we're doing for 20 years in advance, and everything we're doing, if it falls flat, it's one wrong step out of 30 that went right." And it's really frustrating to see because a lot of people think you're like hating on DC or want them to fail, but no, we want them to win. How great would it be if both DC and Marvel were firing on all cylinders and they were putting out these great billion-dollar movies and doing everything right? There's absolutely no explanation in the world why Henry Cavill isn't just automatically going to be the next Superman in the next Man of Steel movie. The fact that he doesn't even really know what's going on is just, it's insane. It's crazy. And it's very frustrating as a fan to see the potential for these films. Like there's moments in Justice League and Batman, and there's moments in all of these films that are just phenomenal where you sit and look at it, it's like, man, if they did it like that for the whole movie or for the whole sequence of films that they have coming out, Marvel would be in trouble. And they, every time they're close, they throw it away without realizing what was even in their hand. And it's super frustrating as a fan of both. Growing up our whole lives, fans of comic books in general, not no DC versus Marvel shit, just in comics in general, to watch it kind of fall through their fingers. And I have no idea what DC is going to be doing over the next 5 years. No, Marvel's going to be doing.
Don't worry, DC doesn't know either.
And that's the point.
This section breaks my heart. It really does because
that's why I'm saving you for last, because I know your heart's broken. And I know this is your baby, so that's why I'm saving you for last. Dara, where's your view on this whole thing? And do you think that within the next few years we have is there any type of hope, or you think is this like, yo, that ship has sailed?
I can't put my trust in DC. Not their extended universe. I feel like whoever is in charge of their animated movies needs to slide on over to DC extended universe.
I agree.
They're doing pretty good with the animated movies. They just did a reboot, and it's going pretty okay. Even before the reboot, I'm not sure why they rebooted, but they did, and it's still going good. So I don't know. DC just has so many compelling stories that I'm not sure why this is an issue. Like Marvel doesn't take it word for word. They take it, they flip it, they'll merge characters or they'll simplify because comics can be very convoluted and it doesn't always translate well to movies. So they'll simplify it. But DC has a lot of good stories, and that's one thing I could say about Batman versus Superman. It was a clusterfuck, but it was like it had a lot of stuff in it. You know, like it had some Batman Return stuff in it, and it had good pieces from different stuff, but it was just too much stuff. It was just too much, and it was like Zack Snyder thought they was gonna fire him. He just had to get everything into one movie. Like, I got to get all these stories into one movie right now. I don't know what their plan is. I don't feel like they have a plan. I feel like it's literally like, we're gonna throw everything at a wall and see what sticks, and what sticks, that's what we're gonna go with. Like, if they like, if Michael B. Jordan,
then nothing stuck.
Gal Zod turns out to be more popular than Henry Cavill, we're gonna go with him for Superman now. If fucking what's his face, Pattinson turns out to be more popular than Ben Affleck,
and
now
he won't.
It looks like that hurt Vinny.
He definitely won't. Just hearing his name as Batman just like stabbing me in the chest. Like,
you think he's gonna like sparkle and grow fangs in the middle of the
movie? That's what I'm waiting for, bro.
Robert Pattinson. I'm not a Twilight fan. I've never even seen any of the movies, but I've seen his other stuff, and I have faith. But
people were skeptical about Ben Affleck as Batman, and I think he was great as Batman
because of the Daredevil movie. Because of the Daredevil trash.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna just completely judge Robert Pattinson just yet.
Right. I'm giving a chance, but I feel like it's just they have a lot of storylines and a lot of compelling stories that they could tell in the movies and be completely different from Marvel. They don't have to follow Marvel to the letter. The comic books in general are not the same. They have two separate lanes, which is why when I was growing up, favored Marvel more, and when I became an adult, I read more DC. It's just they're two different entities. You can take someone else's roadmap and make it your own. I feel like they think that if they kind of emulate what the MCU is doing, they'll be looked down on, or
they got
like
stuck
that.
in that second place mentality. We've got to catch up, which is why the MCU laid the groundwork with so many movies before we even got the first Avengers movie. And then, Warner Brothers and DC tried to jump the gun and basically, we've got Superman, and then we're basically doing one more movie that's going to introduce the Justice League, and then, they jumped the gun.
But that's where they screwed up, though.
Absolutely, that's where they screwed up.
The Snyder Cut of Justice League proves that, because you gave this man 4 hours, and he told a completely different story from what we saw. A good one. I mean, it could have been
because
3
they
hours.
chopped it out.
All the slow-mo, but
they took everything out.
It was still.
There was like 35 minutes of slow-mo in the Snyder Cut. That was excessive. I
with
enjoyed
the football game. With the football game, I didn't like that.
I enjoyed the movie, but
I love the movie, bro. I love it.
There was a lot of slow-mo, but I just like, and even that wasn't a comic book storyline. That's something he created on his own. I feel like Zack Snyder would have did really good with an Injustice movie. I feel like they should just make an Injustice movie and everybody would just be happy. But they can't do that because the animated people are doing the Justice movie. But
I don't think Zack Snyder I don't think he ever wanted to do that. He wanted to do something that was his own. He didn't want to do a straight adaptation of another storyline. And I think it would have been worse if he tried to.
I like the way he did it.
The aesthetic that he went for with his Justice League movie, I feel like it would have lent itself really well to an Injustice story.
Oh, that's on my list.
On the whole, like Vinny said, I completely agree. I was thoroughly shocked and just pleased with Shazam. I love Shazam. I really liked Aquaman. Loved Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman 1984. But I don't know what they're doing. It's literally hit or miss.
Hey, I mean, she didn't say it should win an Oscar. She said, and you're shaking your head.
Bro,
1984 was okay, but
1984 was trash. I'm just glad I got the figure.
Bro.
I got the figure. That's it. Yeah. I'm getting the golden armor, so I'll be happy about that. But that movie
releases it.
That movie was garbage.
True. All right.
Shazam.
So that's how I feel. I feel like they are very hit and miss. They're not how we say we can trust Kevin Feige. I can't trust that team or what is going on. They're like, I feel like they deliberately go against what the fans are saying. Like, I know y'all got harassed for like 3 years over the Justice League movie. Like, that was unnecessary. They shouldn't have been sending y'all death threats or none of that. But y'all got to see why you got to take all that aside and see why that happened. Why did this
Because
happen?
they
Why
don't. You don't give us they don't give what the fans want at all.
Listen, just
They
listen.
seem to get offended by the fans requesting things that they want, as opposed to taking it as constructive at all.
Constructive criticism. That's what everybody goes through it. So I mean, come on. If you make it, if they're telling you the movie's bad, if they're telling you what they're verbally telling you, this movie sucks. Can you please give us something good? And you still don't do it.
The
For
whole
Justice League,
score is
they
trash.
blatantly-
Okay, we'll give Patty another one.
Trash.
They blatantly went to the man who made the first 2 Avengers movie and said, "Fix this movie." And I can't imagine, like, fuck Joss Whedon,
Man, he purposely trashed.
I can't imagine being like in his position. Like, you want me to do
He
what?
did it on purpose, man.
Yeah. I'll get to that. Yep.
I can't.
So
Josh did that on purpose.
Whatever deal they just did with Discovery or whoever just bought AT&T shares or whatever I hope that fixes
just
something.
fire all the Warner Brother executives.
Please fire everybody from Warner Brothers.
Walter Hamada and the whole, get them all out.
Get rid
fire
of
them all.
So all right, you know, Brendan, what
Here's the thing. The MCU is a really not the MCU. The DCEU is a really mixed bag, all right? Man of Steel, I think I love Zack Snyder's visual style, all right? I think he makes some very cool visual movies. Man of Steel I enjoyed,
Shazam?
but it felt like a good sci-fi movie. It didn't feel at its heart like it was a Superman story to me. That was the thing that I didn't vibe with. It felt like decent,
52.
like cool sci-fi movie. I didn't feel like it had the core of what Superman was. But I enjoyed it for what it was. I wish they had made a second one. Batman v Superman, not great. The director's or extended cut definitely had improvements. Visually, I think there were some great elements to it. There are other movies in there that a lot of people liked that I didn't. I was falling asleep in the theater with Aquaman. I couldn't do it. And I wanted to love that movie, and I felt like they leaned so hard. Like they leaned so hard in this one respect, like that the battle and like that whole third act, that was just an orgy of special effects, like of computer generated effects. It was just too
a lot.
Yeah, it was just too much going on. I don't know. I could, and I tried watching it again. I can't vibe with that movie. I really wanted to, but that disappointed me. Wonder Woman, great. Wonder Woman 1984, I agree with what you said. Meh. Like there were parts that I thought, okay, this is cool. I would say there were a lot more parts that I was like, when's the movie gonna start? I was kind of like, let's go. So yeah, I didn't love that. I know, he's not gonna like this. I enjoyed Shazam. Okay, I thought Shazam was good. Most people I know liked Shazam, so I don't know what his problem is, but I guess we'll find out. But I enjoyed Shazam. I'm looking forward to a second one. I'm looking forward to Black Adam. Ultimately, I think there are a lot of good visual elements to the DCEU, but there are things that just there's no connective tissue and something that's really pulling me back into the comics and what I loved about them that brought me into the movies and collecting too, because like the Joker, really enjoyed that movie. Okay, cinematography, sound editing, everything, very good movie. But I never really felt like I was watching the character that I knew from the comic books that I was reading about, because I saw he was unbalanced and there was like a tortured aspect to his origin. That's fine. I never saw the evil genius. The guy, he looked like he was sad and pathetic and downtrodden and stuff like that. But I never saw the guy that I could see really plotting a horrific 12 steps ahead of Batman kind of plot. He just seemed like he was, a sad guy who then flipped out and killed some people and then just kind of, but I never felt that he was that that credible threat to a serious hero like Batman. And that was the part where I enjoyed the hell out of the movie, but I almost kind of feel like that's just a really good movie about a guy who ends up losing his shit, and it's not necessarily the Joker that we know and love.
I think he'll grow into it. I think.
What's that?
I think he'll grow into it.
Yeah, but see, I think you still have to get that sense and get that and have the groundwork there for, okay, this guy could be that evil genius moving forward. And I never really felt like he was all that smart, to be perfectly honest. He never felt like there was that sharp intellect that made the Joker so dangerous. I never felt like he really had that. And so again, I love the movie. I think it was great writing, great directing, cinematography is on point. It's just, I feel like that's like kind of Man of Steel, where I felt like good sci-fi movie. I don't know if this really feels like the Superman that I read about, in the books as a kid. The same way with that. With the Robert Pattinson as Batman, I've really liked a lot of the stuff that I've seen in the trailers and the photos for that. I like, having somebody like Zoe Kravitz in there as Catwoman. I think she'll be good. Yeah. I think Colin Farrell could actually really surprise people as Penguin. I think that's going to be a kind of out there casting that I think catches people off guard. I'm looking forward to that movie. I know Robert Pattinson hates the Twilight movies. He did that for a paycheck. People asked him about, do you think this character would get together with this guy? And he's like, I don't give a shit. I just got paid. I just made a movie. Like, he didn't read the books. He didn't care about any of that. He was a young actor, got offered a lot of money, and so he made movies that were going to be really successful and made a bunch of money. I still am willing to give him a shot as Batman. People didn't like Ben Affleck being cast. I thought that was brilliant, and I thought he was actually really great and just needed his own movie to really shine as Batman. Yeah. I will give this guy the same benefit because you know what? Christopher Nolan cast him in Tenet, and he was good in Tenet. And I trust Christopher Nolan because Christopher Nolan cast Heath Ledger, and everybody was like, "Are you kidding me? The guy from Knight's Tale and 10 Things I Hate About You," and he ended up, in my mind, being the definitive Joker. And this is coming from somebody who grew up with Jack Nicholson, as the Joker. So I'm willing to give this guy a chance. And hopefully, he surprises people. I think a lot of people are hating going in, but you look at the cast in this movie. You look at Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon. Yeah, that's a good one, yeah. I love him. Like, that guy is such a good actor. Westworld and everything else. So this is a movie where I know there's some X factor in there, but and it's not going to solve the problem that DC has as far as the DCEU because they still can't get their shit together with a connected universe. But as like a one shot, this has potential. Just like the Batgirl show on HBO Max, I think has a lot of potential with Leslie Grace, who was awesome in The Heights. So I think there's a lot of potential for really good stories moving forward, but don't hope for some great connected universe because I just don't think that's in the cards.
It's sad.
Okay. And last but definitely not least, my man. I
don't even want to talk about DC, man.
You don't?
I said, like,
you don't?
Damn it! He looks like he needs a hug.
I do, bro. Like, he needs a
hug.
What they've done to. I mean, like I said, like I told you, I love Marvel too. But DC was my go-to. Like, I mean, Superman and Batman been my go-to since I was a baby boy. So it's like to see what they've done to these characters and like the storylines that they've given these guys and the horrible writing. And it's like, and I enjoyed Man of Steel. To me, I thought it was a great movie. I thought it had the aspects of a Superman film to me. I thought it picked up kind of where Christopher Reeve would have went if he had time to like get into a more developed story of Superman or whatever. I loved it as an origin film, and a lot of people got pissed off because he killed Zod. Like, what would you do in that situation? He was going to kill two people. So I mean, what are you gonna do?
I had no problem with that. I thought it was
Me
it was
either.
making him choose from a
Right.
horrible thing and showing his dedication to
Right.
saving the world. So I was
To
fine with
humanity. To
Reeves
humanity.
killed him, and worse, he took his superpowers away, then killed him. Christopher Reeves did the same thing, but worse.
Right. So it's like, I mean, is that why they didn't make part 2? Like, come on, like you go from Man of Steel to like what 4 years later, and you're going to BVS, and then that version of Batman is freaking Frank Miller's Batman. He's like almost 40 something years old, 50 something years old. It's like, come on, there's no pause. They go from Man of Steel and they go 100 miles an hour to BVS.
The next movie should have been an origin story with Deathstroke or not an origin story. It should have been Batman's been around for a while, but it's an introduction with Deathstroke and him, and then you push into. And you can tell more of the backstory, maybe how Robin died, which version of Robin that is.
And give me Man of Steel after that.
And then bring in BVS. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
They jumped the gun.
Right. You do Superman, you do Man of Steel. Give me the Batman story where you have Deathstroke, the whole stuff with Robin and everything, boom. And then give me Man of Steel 2. Then give me BVS.
Do the Arkham Asylum movie. Arkham Asylum.
They got rid of it. Ben Affleck wrote it.
BVS move into the
Ben couldn't deal with the execs. He couldn't deal with
Yeah, bro. He wrote it. It was already done. He had it like Arkham Asylum, and they got rid of it. I'm like, I couldn't believe.
I mean, Ben Affleck was also, he needed to go to rehab. Like, he was not in a right headspace to write and direct that movie. So I think if he had made that movie at that time, it probably wouldn't have been very good. Not that his story wasn't good or that he wouldn't make a good movie. Right now, I think he would nail it. Yeah. But at the time when he was drinking and he was in a bad way, I don't think that. So I think it was good that movie didn't get made then.
Yeah.
But I wanted that movie to get made eventually, and not getting that. That hurts. Yeah. That definitely hurts.
Because he had the story though, bro. Like the story was done, but like DC execs, with their I don't know backwards alternative universe wisdom, they said no. So it's like I don't know. DC it really gets me in the gut talking about it because I love these characters so much. And to see the trash that they've given us, like, okay, the first Justice League, the Josh Whedon cut, I couldn't make it through the first 3 seconds of the film. Superman's jaw as big as a giraffe's. I couldn't.
Mustache, yeah, that was rough. Here's the thing about that though, is like I agree that like there were a lot of issues with that, and I'm not defending Joss Whedon and the stuff that's come out about his behavior and stuff. Absolutely not. Like that's indefensible. The part that I think he maybe a little unfairly gets hate for with regard to the theatrical release of the Justice League was that, look, they brought him in at the 11th hour to reshoot 75% of a movie and try and write it on the go.
Because what happened with Zack Snyder.
In 25% of what Zack Snyder had done. With a studio looking over his shoulder and saying, we want you to do this, we don't want that, you've got to keep it to exactly 2 hours, you can't do this and you can't do that. But they backed up a Brinks truck on his front lawn. So normally if he actually had the time from the start, fresh, blank slate to write the film and then create it, I honestly think it would have been way better than the 2017 Justice League. Again, not defending personality stuff, all that aside. He's a proven good storyteller when he's got the time and the resources to do it. This was... I don't think any filmmaker was coming into that situation with Warner Brothers looking over their shoulder and what happened with Zack Snyder and making a good Justice League movie out of that. I don't think that was like, oh, he came up with a horrible plot, this and that. He basically tried to build a whole new story around 25% of what Zack Snyder shot, which was a massive amount. And he just was, I think at that point, he was like, I'm getting paid a shit ton of money. Here you go. Here's the movie that you're asking for. It's not the movie I would make, but it's what you wanted, so fine, take it. I'm going to take my check. I think that's what happened.
To do that much carnage to a film.
Yeah, and not to mention, even the Snyder cut, as we all loved it.
Dude,
they never would have given that film 4 hours either. So they would have the hell out of Snyder's version, and if he had done it his way too. So either way, WB like just did not have a clear end game in mind for this film. Either
if
way,
Snyder didn't leave the movie, we never would have gotten the Snyder cut though, because they still would have made him condense it to 2 hours.
It's a blessing
it wouldn't
and a
have
curse.
been what we got on HBO Max.
It's a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing and a curse.
Too.
But it's like, how are you a film franchise and your cartoons are better than all your freaking movies?
Because they have nothing to do with it,
dude. I don't understand it, yo. And I know that some people didn't like the movies, but I love Man of Steel. I love the BVS. I love the Zack Snyder version of the Justice League cut, because I'm just a fan like that. But just some parts of the films, some parts of those movies made me cringe because I'm like, yo, why did they do this?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
I enjoyed all of those
why?
too.
Yeah,
it's a part where the things that you're really liking get overshadowed by the fact that that executives came in and screwed up everything else.
Screwed up, correct.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to even enjoy the pieces that you really like, or even necessarily enjoy a full film that you really like, because you know that when it comes to what it's connected to in the rest of the DC universe, they screwed up so badly.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. That
I think you know what, and like I said, because I want to kind of wrap it up a bit, but I think that, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt with the Batman. I'm gonna try to.
I'll try, man.
Out of all these films, though, basically the one that I'm most looking forward to right now is The Flash, because I want to actually see how they play this out. And on top of that, it's just the simple fact that I get my chance to see Keaton again. In that suit.
Yeah, that's dope.
That's the only thing. If you show me Keaton, if you give me a flashback to the Batmobile, like if you give me that,
please don't put it in the trailer. Please don't put it in the trailer.
Don't put it in the trailer.
Right?
Save
I
it.
don't
Please, God, save it. I don't want to see any. I don't even want to see. I don't even want to see like a little corner of the cape or something. Don't give me like. Don't give me a nipple like in Val Kilmer.
Right.
Don't give me a little ass.
The Val Kilmer suit.
They're gonna show the whole damn thing.
Yeah. Don't give me
the Val Kilmer suit. That's what we need, right?
Don't give me any of that. Just basically.
We're getting the Val Kilmer suit. Well, the sonar suit from Hot Toys, not like.
I'm not even talking about the hot. I'm talking about the film itself. I want a perfectly good. And the thing is, it's like it's wishful thinking, but I can't say that they will. But hopefully. We'll get that. So that's the most. When I think about Justice League, and I thought about these films and how they should have been shooting, and I talked about this before. To me, in my mind, what would have actually been perfect is if you gave us the way they did it. Put it this way: the connective tissue between Man of Steel to Batman versus Superman, the way they did it in the very beginning was smart. But if they would have continued with that and done it a totally different way. Give us Man of Steel first, okay? Give us that version. Give us the Batman. Give us Ben
for the
Affleck's
second
Batman.
movie.
Yep.
For the second film. At the end of that particular film, right? Then you have
fighting Zod.
You have him see Superman fighting Zod. He's been off doing his own thing. You basically see the destruction of
Zod.
Gotham and Metropolis.
Right.
Don't exactly. But at that point. Don't give us Batman versus. Don't give us that as an
give me Man of Steel 2.
No. Don't give us Man of Steel 2 yet either. Give us a Wonder Woman film then. I'm gonna tell you why. To bring her in. So basically, you see that introduction. Give us that film first, and then once we flash forward, then we see her watching all this play out on screen. She's watching the destruction. Then right then and there, exactly. Now you can't. Because right down there, they've already introduced it, so you can't really give us a Man of Steel right then and there. You can't. So if you want to tie all those particular characters in together, then you give us a Batman versus Superman. But you don't even, at that particular point, don't even give us, the way they gave us a glimpse of the Flash, the way they gave us a glimpse of Aquaman and stuff, and Cyborg, the way they did that, I think that they should have waited. Like they shouldn't have done anything like that until mainly possibly the end of the film. Don't throw it in the middle. Maybe the end of the film we actually see that, and then we see. Then after that, you can actually say that you give us a Man of Steel. Give us a Man of Steel in a totally different way. But then after Man of Steel, that's when we get the verses. That's when we get basically Batman. I see it that way because I think that it would have made for, and you're building a platform. We see that, you know what, you can have, you know, the cohesive storyline pushing through. The way they did it, they rushed it because like we've all been saying.
I agree with that. What they should have done is exactly what you just said. But in my mind, one of the other element though, do exactly what you just said, but with each one, whether it's like the stinger, like the scene at the end of the credits or whatever, or a scene somewhere in the movies themselves, somewhere like in BVS where Bruce Wayne falls asleep and then you've got Barry. Tease, you have these one scene, like just one scene. Tease what's going to lead up to two things, because throughout all of these, you're getting the individual, like the solo movies. You're building up to the BVS. Then you get into the movie of like with Darkseid and stuff. You get into the Justice League movie that like Zack Snyder, you know, was kind of having with Steppenwolf and Darkseid coming down, right? That battle, but it ends with that, like, and maybe even that's either two movies or maybe that's a trilogy of movies where it's Darkseid and Steppenwolf and all that, but you're teasing throughout that whole thing what's going to happen in that future Nightmare universe, but also Flashpoint. And Flashpoint is the actually not the final battle with Darkseid being the finale of that, but Flashpoint is actually what it was. It almost like how that, you know, was it Far From Home was like the epilogue of the Phase 3 for, you know, it wasn't. It wasn't like necessarily the first movie in the next phase. It was the epilogue, the final movie in Phase 3. Make Flashpoint like the epilogue of that. So now, because then at that point you have the potential to reset everything however you want. You've told that nice story where you didn't rush all the elements, and you teased the Justice League and Flashpoint storylines with those drop-in scenes in each of those other movies, and then you push through that big battle, that big story with Darkseid, and then into Flashpoint, and then you can use Flashpoint to reset any element of the DCEU you want, and then keep moving forward with with a new story.
We've seen Avengers make $1 and they panicked when another entirely could have been if they were that worried about getting to Justice League as fast as they were trying to, they could have skipped even a short skip to it. They could have just simply put out a Justice League movie with all the Justice League characters there and said, the fans are smart enough, they'll figure it out. And the ones that fans react to, then we can spin off and make them solo movies. We could do it the opposite of Marvel and make it our own.
And then you're making a Flash movie and it not be Flashpoint. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, this is the perfect time to have a Flashpoint film.
Yeah, because it impacts the entire universe, the whole all DCU. Those characters, but you still have Flash be like that kind of focal point in that.
This is what I say,
you could have told all that story and teased a really cool mystery throughout, then finished with Flashpoint, where you get another great storyline, but now you can go anywhere you want with that movie because everything else that you built, you've completed now. Not we're going to do Flashpoint, but we have all these hanging threads and we're going to screw everything up. Tell the story you want, then use Flashpoint as the catalyst for whatever you do after that.
Definitely. Okay, so what we're going to do, like I said, we're going to wind it down now because we've actually already pushed past the 2 hour point.
Man.
You know, we're already, because like I said, I knew this was going to be a long discussion, but this is the first entry and this is comics. So, you know, like I said, well structured, good conversation throughout. But we're gonna actually close up. Good to have everybody here. Of course, I mean, you know, just briefly, Vinny, what you got coming up, man? What you gonna be doing next? I know we got Comic-Con coming up in October, so I can't wait for that.
If it happens.
NYC?
Yeah, NYC. So we got that coming up in October. So we'll see how that goes. We got the Black Panther what is it? The concert next month?
Yeah, live orchestra and Man Center in Philly. I'm hyped for that. Empire Strikes Back. So it's like, we seen Empire Strikes Back that way, and they have like the orchestra doing the audio for the film while the movie plays.
It's crazy. It's
another,
crazy.
It's an ethereal experience, man. It's just
It's crazy.
What's that?
It's
Market
crazy.
Market Street? They doing that?
at Man Theater in Philly.
The Man Theater downtown Philly, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
yeah.
it's
I know what
incredible.
it is.
But yeah, we got that coming up, and we got of course New York Comic Con coming up, and yeah, there's still a few comic movies. It looks like it's back, back in the swing of comic book movies again. Now that Marvel and World's opening them back up, now it's like a slingshot back into all the films. So I'm hyped.
I'm gonna have to come home for that NYC one.
Yeah, man.
Definitely, man. Ferry, you know what? No, Dara. I'm not saying that name. I'm just not saying it.
Bro,
Hey,
like
what you got going on?
This is being my nerdy self, and can't wait for Shang-Chi. And
yes.
I'm in the middle of the freaking country, so I got no cons out here no time soon or anything like that. But just trying to get my girls ready for Halloween and waiting these Marvel movies and shows. What If is in like 3 days. So
What If? Yeah, I guess
August 11th.
I can't wait for that.
Woo! I forgot all about that.
Yeah,
and Titans season 3. Titans season 3 is coming up too.
Oh yeah.
When is Titans?
HBO Max.
When is Titans?
It's this coming week.
Next week. That's Saturday.
It's this coming week. I think. Yeah.
So Toys, please give me my Nightwing, man. What's up?
I paid for mine too, bro.
Give me my Nightwing.
Give me my Nightwing. Give me my Gambit. Give me my give me my Bat Lady.
Give me my Bat Lady.
Give me them all.
I couldn't pull a trigger on that one, man. I hate that show, bro.
Which
man,
one?
look.
No. Oh,
the Batwoman.
The show is straight up doo-doo stew. Like I said,
it
is not
horrible,
good. Okay,
bro.
But the character,
that visage, that like look is so. It is so faithful to the comic.
The comic,
look
that I can buy that and just in my head that's just the comic book version, not the bad show. And because I've got So Toys Green Arrow is awesome. That
I have him.
Great.
Yeah, he's
so
over there.
I'm gonna have that and Nightwing and Batwoman and Robin, and so like I'm gonna have a nice spread for like those DC. So I'm looking forward to that one. But Titans season 3, I can't wait for that.
That's gonna be sick. I can't wait. I want to see Red Hood on. I just want to see Red Hood.
If they do it right, Jedi Kid, what you got going on?
I hope they do it right, bro.
What you got going on, bro?
Me now, back to work tomorrow for me. I got some more sideshow stuff coming in. I mean, Hot Toy stuff coming in a few days. I think I got Fat Thor's coming, and I have Mysterio coming in a few days.
Okay, that Mysterio, you're gonna love that Mysterio, man. You'll love it.
Lael said that's like top 3 of his like collection all time now.
Top 3.
Oh, the Mysterio.
Once you get it in hand, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
Dude,
that's all I'm gonna say.
Does the head light up with this?
Once you get it in hand, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
I can't wait for that thing, man.
I know you can.
And you were right. You were right about Kylo. I hate the movie.
The head sculpt is on point.
Yo, the head sculpt is crazy. And
told you.
The helmet with the light up feature with the red cracks. I was like, what?
I told you.
Okay,
I told
good
you.
Pete.
I told you. I enabled you in a good way. Hey, you
got that one, bro.
The guy who is always right. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, we got our stream tomorrow with John and Justin and Will.
Justin the Collector. We got Will Foxification, aka.
Oh, you got Justin on tomorrow?
Yeah, Justin's gonna be on tomorrow, so make sure you tune in, bro.
So that's gonna be.
That's
gonna be fun.
Yeah.
That's gonna be fun. Other than that, I was late to the game because I get most of stuff direct from Hong Kong, but I didn't on Ray. I got that through Collector's Own, so I actually just got Ray in.
That Ray one
yesterday.
is sick, dude.
Yep, and that's one of the ones too where it's like everybody hated the head sculpt and then in pictures, but then you get it in hand or you see the videos and you're like, no, that's legit. That's good. Right. So I got that in. I should have my quarter scale Spidey coming in the next week or two. That's what I've been told.
From the first movie?
From Homecoming. Yeah, the quarter scale.
Oh yeah, I think
like
it's
the
sick,
vulture
bro.
base.
Okay. Yeah, that's sick.
So I've got that coming. And other than that, I'm just waiting for Hot Toys to drop some of the stuff that I've already got paid off, like Gold Armor, Wonder Woman, and Rex and Ahsoka and all these others. So hopefully they'll drop those. Waiting on So Toys to drop a bunch of stuff too. In the meantime, I'm just going to be continuing to read through a ton of comics that I'm catching up on, and then I'll be seeing Lael and Latoya next Saturday. For the Josh Wolf comedy show that we're all going to meet up for, so that'll be a lot of fun.
Cool, man.
Yeah, man. So it's a plus What If and season 3 of Titans. So this next week is going to be
a big week.
It's going to be packed.
It's going to be fun.
All right, man. Well, like I said, for everybody that's in the chat, like I said, I always like to give a shout out to everybody before we leave. Shout out to Max's Geekdom, Linda. We have also single songwriter, always coming through. I love you, man. We got Will Foxification, aka Pretty Boy. We already know.
The Last of Us Part 2 for life, Will.
We got Bloodsport 1.
Yeah.
We got Daryl Smith Jr. We got Darth. What's that? Darth Tabernac. Darth Tabernac. I see you there, man. And of course,
Tabernac is a swear in French Canadian land. My wife, her family is French Canadian. Tabernac is like their swear word. It's like shit. It's like everything all in one.
Got you. We got Latoya T, my baby. See you in a minute. Once I get off the live stream, I'll be upstairs, so you don't have to wait too long. But if I didn't mention you, definitely I'm glad that you've been on board with us tonight. It's been an excellent discussion. Tune in tomorrow night. Most definitely we will be there with Justin from Justin's Collections. We'll also be with Jonathan. Jonathan's here from
Collecting's
Weekly. So yeah, we'll basically be around, man. Can't wait to see everybody. But yeah. Tune in tomorrow. And again, great discussion. This has been a 1/6 Scale Man proudly presents Say What, the comic discussion. I see all you guys later, man. And like as always, peace and love. Collect what you want. Keep the comics going. All day, every day. It's all love. Let's go.